If it's tap, then it's fact. If it's cap, it's a rap. Over and over and over and over. Broken record scratching, they lacking, they capping again. They steady smacking their lips and rolling their necks. Eyes twitching cause you really made it out of them jets. You parasite.
How y'all doing, man? It's your boy, the comment. For man, Dr. 5.0. That's today. It's like every other Friday. Catch me here on Tapping No Captain, where if you nerdy, you seen it, the What Show Pen. How you doing, everybody? How you doing? My guy Bob Carter. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much for having me on, Con Mealers. Loved meeting you guys last weekend, and I'm very excited to be on tonight with you on a Friday evening. I feel special. Friday evening on the Pacific Coast, prime time, coast to coast. Come on.
Yes,
8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Hey, we are here all over the country, all over the world. Let's do this thing. Get it.
Do it. My boy, Captain Diesel, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm great. You know, I feel like I got to match the energy now. Bob came in with a certain assertiveness. I gotta wake up a little bit because, as he said, we are on prime time television.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And Dr. K, how are you?
I'm great. I just woke up from a nap and did my homework, kind of. So.
Okay.
Wait, what kind of homework? What's it for?
I'm going for.
You're a teacher, so he in your business.
I'm going for a double PhD in astrophysics and aquatic veterinary medicine. So I had a lot of math.
Wait. Astrophysics and aquatic veterinary medicine?
Yes.
I know.
You plan on going to like Jupiter or Venus or obviously combine these things. So that means you're going to like genetically modify dolphins to be able to withstand the frozen temperatures. That's Neptune. They made that movie. That was the guy from Avatar.
If I can get the sea animals over to my little exoplanet Koi 9.2557, I would absolutely 100% do it.
All right, I'm more of a Kepler kind of guy, but I get you. I feel that. I definitely respect that. 100%. I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all don't even know what we're talking about, do you?
No.
I'm in and out.
Okay, so look, she is. So this woman is like Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of smart, okay? And what she's talking about is the fact that she is an astrophysicist, and at the same time, she's going to combine her knowledge of genetic veterinary medicine to genetically modify a lot of the hardier species that we would rely on for space exploration, right? Like orcas, like dolphins, obviously mammals with large brains. But they even made a movie about this starring what's his face? It was a good movie. What was the movie called? You know what I'm talking about, right?
It was a good movie. I can't remember the movie.
You know what? You know how we went deep into geek theory last time? Remember how we went deep into geek theory last weekend? Yeah. Okay, like I said, I live that life, all right? So there's a fantastic movie about space exploration and about a human who would choose to genetically modify himself, and over time, he does so that way he can become one of the first planetary space explorers, and he goes off to, I want to say, Neptune. It's one of the frozen liquid planets, like 6 or 7. Anyway, I did not mean to break us off on that rabbit hole. Sorry about that. It's a pleasure to meet you, Dr. K.
It's a pleasure to listen.
Jesse, please announce yourself. Let them know who you be.
Oh, I got to go up against Bob Carter. Oh, okay.
Come on, man. The Acolyte. I did my homework, and I watched episode 3, and I got some feelings about this one. I am not an OSHA fan anymore. I'm a May fan. I'm on that side.
Okay.
Let's bring it.
Okay.
I agree. I'm on the same page.
Yeah, Oshie messed up, man. She wrecked that for everybody.
Man. Well, my name is Jesse. Jesse Pascua. I'm a previous artist and action designer. I was part of the action design team on the Acolyte.
Yes.
And I guess Acolyte was sort of like my foray into the Hollywood and production side. I worked on smaller things before that. I was a motion capture technician before that, and an animator before that.
Well, like what? Don't just say I worked on small things, dude. You obviously do awesome things. What do you?
Yeah,
have you done?
It's a lot of indie video games. One of them came out. I forgot the name.
Indie video games. That's my life. Let's talk.
It was. What was the name? But I used to work for a company called Noidum. It's motion spelled backwards.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and it was we get a lot of indie artists that come in and want to do mocap for the next music video or the next small video game, and I was their technician for the whole thing.
Well, I like doing indie video games as well. I directed Saga of Sins, which is a beautiful 2D scroller that uses like cathedral style glass, and it's a really interesting story. So the Neighborhood Studio did that one, and then you might have heard of Ori, a couple of Ori games. I was in those, and then also The Lonely Planet. I was an astronaut in that one, and then I like Arcadegeddon. I do a lot of indie games as well that people don't even know about. So I'm all about indie games. I love that.
Dang. Or like Ori as an Ori and the Blind Forest, or
yeah, I'm the Stone. The Stone King. So.
Oh, nice. No, that's amazing. Wow, that's an IMDb page.
Yeah, thank you. But I am a huge fan of yours. Again, the action, dude. You designed the action in the Acolyte. That show opens up with action. I was shocked.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. Who's gonna kill Trinity in the first episode? It's like what? Spoilers. Sorry, spoiler alert.
It's out. It's been out for a second. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Transitioning to last but not least, the amazing, beautiful Mealers. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mealers. I cosplay on IG and Instagram. I mean, that's the same thing. TikTok. I'm nervous. Sorry.
You're nervous?
I'm shaking in my
You
boots.
had me freaking out, sir, and I was trying to hold it together.
You're kidding me. You're amazing. I low-key stalked your Instagram. I told you I only watch martial arts videos on Instagram, and your Instagram stuff is awesome. Your cosplay is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The stuff that you and Khan do is just really cool, and I am very honored to be here tonight. So I made a point to take my 5-hour energy earlier today and make sure that I was awake for tonight so I could be on with you guys. So
I was scared. I was like, oh, it might be late, or I don't know. I was scared about that.
Look, we were hanging out, and I thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with y'all.
Oh, definitely. Use the life of the show, man. Charlie is also a tall man from. I know this is the misconception. They put in all his IMBs and all this stuff that you're from Atlanta, but you are actually a Californian. You know what I mean? But Charlie's another tall, raised man from the South, from Atlanta. So that's something y'all got in common. Bob Carter's 6'7". So
damn.
Yeah.
I'm just 6'2", bro. You got me by a little bit.
I was like, is Charlie
I'm
crazy?
used to that. Okay.
I'm 6'2". And I am from Winter Robins, Georgia, actually. Not
really?
Like 2 hours
down near Macon.
south.
I got you. Yeah.
When I tell people that, they're immediately like, Macon? I'm like, no, not Macon.
You be repping
Outside of
Atlanta so hard. I thought you was
the
from the
Aviation
ATL.
Museum is down there, and then also let's talk about the State Fair of Georgia, which is down there at Warner Robins.
Hey, it's in Perry, actually. So it's in Warner Robins.
You're right,
it's
just
like,
outside. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
Whole state acts like, oh my God, I've never been. I'm like, I grew up going there, so I'm just like,
well, congrats on escaping. So
hey man, I had to get away for a little bit.
No, it's all good.
Another thing you guys got in common is that Charlie is a big sports fan, and I know that you were a Braves fan.
I was a sports fan, and I was a Braves fan, and I was a Falcons fan, and I'm lifelong, but they call us Falcoholics for a reason. So let's not talk about that. And then, as far as the Braves go, that's still good. It's still good. You know what else I am? A Savannah Bananas fan. Let's talk about minor league.
Savannah Bananas.
Savannah Bananas. For those who don't know, you're going to love the Savannah Bananas. I'm not kidding. I love them. They're amazing. They deserve to be major league. They're going to change. They are going to change baseball.
I really want to get tickets to go see them. I love them.
They're sold out everywhere. I tried to get tickets.
Time.
Yes, they sold out Fenway Park. They sold out, like they went to Boston as the away team and sold out Fenway Park, right? I mean, and this is a minor league baseball team. They are changing the face of baseball. But yeah, I lifelong Falcons and Cowboys fan. So again, I'm a Falcoholic and a Cowboys fan. I am doomed. And born in Cali. So my first team that broke my heart was the Rams before they left. And then what can I say? I do love the Lakers always, but then also love the Dallas Mavericks. And also, again, hey, listen. So Atlanta's teams were painful for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. But through that pain, that is where art and creativity arise and come from. And so that is why the ATL is so amazing when it comes to all things creative, because our sports teams kept breaking our heart. So we had to do other things. That's why the food is amazing here. The art is great here. The culture is great here. The creativity is great. So that's one thing that comes from, pain, right?
I concur.
Yes. So anyway, you know what? I'm going to shut up.
You're good. I mean, I have no room to judge because I'm from Oakland. So my team is the Raiders, and and I was a Warriors fan before Steph Curry. So we also have a long history of
yes, you do. Yes, you do. Congratulations now on making it. But you know what? In all seriousness, when the Patriots bought that Super Bowl, that's what made me stop watching football. But also, when the Raiders went to Las Vegas, if you're going to have a football team in Las, by the way, let me go ahead and make a disclaimer right now. If you guys are asking me anything, because it's late at night and I'm tired, my filter's off, and that could absolutely get me in trouble with a lot of teams and people. So I need to be very, very careful what I say. Because remember, I'm still chasing sponsors and exhibitors for Shao Khan. So I got to make sure I'm careful about what I say, especially when it comes to NBA 2K and Madden 24. By the way, since y'all were on a cruise, change that one. Check it out.
Want that?
Look at this.
That's not it no more?
Look right behind me. I changed the date so y'all could make it. I went all in on the cosplay. That's right. Carpe cosplay. It's the next weekend, Halloween weekend. Okay. That's right. It is on. You got a place to stay. You'll be staying at the hotel. I got you on the hotel. You just get here to Atlanta and everything's taken care of.
Say less then. We got you.
Okay. But yes, I changed the weekend. We're all in on the Halloween weekend. So again,
where was that?
Yeah, the October 24th through the 27th. Mm-hmm. Shao Khan is happening.
He's like, just come out. Like it's down the street. Like we're not in California.
Right, yeah.
Just come out.
But he was mad.
I'm down the street. I'll be there.
I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad. I was
we're all going to be there.
Disappointed. But yes, all of you, come on out. Come out.
Okay, good.
Hold on.
I'm not disappointed.
It's when again? The 25th?
Sure, it's Halloween.
Yeah, the 25th through the 27th. The 24th, we're having a college and job fair, right? So Shao Khan is all about sparking curiosity in young people, right? I'm doing what I can to try to break that cycle of post-high school, retail, warehouse, military jobs. You know what I mean? I want to try to do something to kind of elevate the trajectory of a lot of young people. So my formula, Mealers, Khan, do you guys remember what my formula is?
Yes.
Bang, bang, bang. Well, that's to make your mouth stronger.
My formula: motivate, empower. I'm like the first one.
Very good. Motivate, educate, and empower. Right? We motivate, we educate, and we empower. So, going to motivate everybody by getting them there for this esports tournament and the big creative expo. Creatives, creators, all coming together to talk about the industry and best tips and practices. And then I'm going to educate all the young people that are coming there and their families to show them the opportunities that are available, right? Gaming leads to coding and high-tech skills, and coding and high-tech skills lead to high-paying careers. So it's all about helping these young people understand that the games that they're playing right now, that can lead to those transferable skills that they need for high-paying careers, right? To be data engineers, to be AI engineers, to be data scientists, blockchain developers, and cryptocurrency kind of people, and cybersecurity, right? And it all starts from gaming and coding, and even making your own games. So usually there's this bubble that, wealthy kids of wealthy families get opportunities like that. I'm trying to make this available to everybody. So I'm going to actually go to every county in the state of Georgia and have
every
the businesses, every county.
So 156.
Let's just say I've got resources, and I'm actually going to be speaking in front of a bunch of mayors and city council members next weekend in Savannah for an annual convention. But I'm actually going to be talking to most of the members of every county of Georgia, 164 counties, by the way. Most people don't know this. There are 164 or 146 counties in Georgia, so that's a lot. But I'm actually talking something like that. But either way, it's obviously more than 10. But I'm going to have the members of the chambers of commerce paying for the registrations for the kids because it's a tax write-off for the businesses, right? It's a lot easier for a business to pay, a couple $100s for the registration than it is for some young kid trying to scrape that together. And then that way, when you explain to people that gaming, esports are as big in Georgia, mind you, as football, and that you can get scholarships based on esports. First of all, people don't believe that, and they're like, BS. And then second, when they go and look it up, they're like, I had no idea, which is the point. Most people have no idea. So it's all about building awareness and then building support in the community, right? Like a booster club, and then get these young people to this event and then show off the fun that can be had and show off the opportunities that are available for them. And there's even going to be a college and job fair where as they're gaming, the colleges are scouting the talent for their own teams. Plus, there are going to be some professional esports teams that are going to be there, along with the UEL, which is a professional league. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. So that's Shao Khan. Not to mention a lot of gaming. So whether it's D&D, DC-20, Pathfinder, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Dragon Ball, throwing down cards, Beyblades, whatever. If it's gaming, if it's some kind of competition, it's there.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I will be there.
So please, Jesse, I would love to have you there as a guest talking about creativity. Dr. K, I absolutely need you here talking about astrophysics meets aquatic veterinary medicine. You realize we have the Georgia Aquarium here, right? I'll give you special access to the aquarium, and you could put together some kind of an interesting story there. So please plan on it, the 25th through the 27th. And then Khan and Mealers, y'all are going to be in my D&D group. You know this, right? I was actually talking about this earlier.
That's all I asked for. I don't even.
He's ready.
Nice,
ready.
So I bought this.
Nice.
I bought this D&D game at the convention.
Okay.
And yeah, this is something I want to actually get into and give them promotion. It seems really, really dope. It's also futuristic, like Star Wars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a D&D game. I'm really looking forward to it. So getting a little promo. They also gave us a deal on this. So appreciate y'all.
They're really cool.
Space Fantasy Watchers, you said, right? Watchers.
Watchers.
Okay. Is that the website? Watchers.
That's
Yeah,
like the name
actually,
of their-
They may get you a different website. Let's make sure.
They're like new. They're like a month new.
yeah, they're a brand new D&D game.
All right.
Definitely.
I love gaming. Listen, gaming, again, anything and everything that sparks imagination, right? So anything that does something like that, I'm all for, in a good, safe, fun, healthy, creative way. There we go. Watchers trading card game. Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, so let's get into it, y'all. Let's go ahead and properly introduce Bob.
Ooh, look at that. Y'all I got graphics and everything.
Yeah. We got the roll out the red carpet. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
So he does this is some of his my own creation of like his IMD. And he's done so many amazing characters. Let me go ahead and pull up that as well. Yeah, I'm saying this is he's done Sid Curtis from Full Metal Alchemist, Shao Khan from Mortal Kombat, Black Adam from Multiversus. He's Baraka from Mortal Kombat, Balrog from Street Fighter, and Shenron from Dragon Ball GT. So he's done that and many more.
Damn.
And Bojack from Dragon Ball Z.
And Bojack.
See, some people try to clown on Bojack, but I love Bojack. Bojack is actually the job that I've had that was the hardest on my voice of any job I've ever had in my entire life. It was Bojack.
Really?
Bojack Unbound. Every time I do Bojack, it is powerful. Okay. I mean, so when Bojack is throwing stuff down, it's power, right? So when I recorded Bojack Unbound, that left me hoarse for 3 days. And then let's just say that I worked on another project sometime that left me hoarse for another 2.5 days. So I'm just saying, BoJack can flex along with Sin Shinron, along with those others.
You should have flexed his clothes off, so I assume the flexing is strong.
Yeah, but they made him a meme, and it's pretty funny. Have you guys watched any of the Dragon Ball Abridged? Or
Abridged? I was going to ask you if they had you come on and voice any of that stuff.
Not yet, but it's hilarious. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
A pirate?
Yes.
R.
And I just have a question. And you are one of the voices in Housing Complex C, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you so much for watching that. Oh, I love that series. Okay, so that's one of my favorite horror series I've ever done. And yes, right? That's good. That is good, creepy horror. And yes, I was very happy to be a part of that. And actually, I recorded that right around the same time that I did Black Adam. And then there was another. Oh, Licorice Recoil. Did you guys ever watch that, by the way?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Licorice, as in like the candy?
No problem.
Licorice Recoil is one of my favorites too.
It's amazing. Yeah. Lycoris, Charlie. Licorice Recoil. It's kind of like a modern day gunslinger girl, where my character is kind of like this handler of this group of teenage girl assassins, and they're doing good deeds. But it starts off hilarious. Then it's got insane action. It's 30 frames a second, so HD anime. And then plot twists, like I was not expecting it. But then on top of that, the story is deep. And I mean, like I said, I'm proud of it. I'm very, very proud to be in that series. It's one of my highlights of my career. In fact, not a lot of people know about it.
I love that one too.
Thank you.
I sit and watch a lot of anime when I don't have anything to do, so I just find
that's cool.
It's sick. It's dope.
Yeah.
So
well, I got a question. Okay, you guys asked me a question.
Hold on, I want to just go
you guys a question. Oh, yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect.
So for the people who don't know what he's talking about, go ahead and tune in. But go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned that you got that game right there, and then Mealers, you said you were running a campaign and you were getting Khan into it. So tell me about the campaign.
It's not. It's going to be for the game that he just showed.
Yeah, but you said you ran a campaign before this.
Good sir.
What was the campaign? Yeah, what was the campaign?
You're on the podcast as the special guest.
All right, fine.
We're not talking about the campaign
tonight.
This
is what he does. This is what he does. He likes to take the spotlight off of him and put other people on the pedestal. And I respect that. Because a lot of people don't share.
I'll put him back on there because he's also in Yashahime.
Speak. Yeah.
But again, I thrive by showing recognition to other people. You know what I mean? Like that's what makes me happy. Again, motivate, educate, empower. So I love empowering other people, and then their success reflects my superior leadership. So the more I can make my people, the more I can make my neighbors successful, the happier that makes me, the prouder I am. So
you said something about a tide that rises. What did you?
Raising tide raises all ships, right? And I'm a big believer in I tell my kids this all the time. We lift others up. We don't put them down. Growing up, I hated bullies, and I can't stand bullies. So I do everything I can to motivate. Right? We're having a good time. We're having fun, and bring that energy level up. And then that way you can just spread that energy, and then you can pay that forward. So that's what I'm all about. That's everything I'm about. Now, even though I play the villain, which used to drive me crazy, because like I said, there were like 50 something auditions and roles that I got before I ever got my first hero. So, but it was a good one, Samurai 7, which again, not everybody knows about it, but Samurai 7 was classic.
Yes.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that one, I highly recommend it. Mealers, you haven't seen it, so.
I don't know how you got that.
Okay.
I'm just
okay.
Writing it down.
So speaking about characters that he's done, he's also done Master Chief from Halo Wars. How was that?
No, wait, not Master Chief, but I did the Marines and
the Marines. That's right, the captain, right?
Yeah, I did the Marines and the Covenant. So the Marines and the Elites, the Grunts, the Brutes, all of them, everything except for the Flood. So yeah.
Okay.
Is that the Samurai 7 one?
No. Samurai 7, I was Gorbei Katayama.
So, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the comment. They said it's a mecha samurai anime.
It's a style of mecha samurai. Yeah, that's exactly right, Rain. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's an awesome anime. It's fantastic.
Not one of the only mecha anime I actually like, so you probably like it.
So yeah, I really did enjoy Samurai 7. That's a fantastic series. Gorbei Katayama, my character plays the entertainer. who starts off. And again, even the character is very supportive. But I did 55? That was like my 56th role that I ever got. Finally, where I got to be a hero. And then, but like I said, the greater the villain, the greater the good must rise to overcome that villain. So if I can be the best villain that I can be, then when the good guys finally beat my character, you feel it, right? So obviously like that in Mortal Kombat as Shao Khan, but more recently, Eden Zero. Did you guys ever see Eden Zero on Netflix?
Yeah.
My little cousin loves it.
Right. It's a cool series. Not everybody's seen it. It's okay. But if you get a chance to, when you get a chance to, my character plays Seabeer the Mighty. Now, this was one of the toughest roles I've ever had to do, ever. Like of any and all the characters I've ever done. I've done some crazy, bloody, messed up stuff. But this one is the most challenging character I've ever had to do because that particular character, not just because he's a brawler, I can handle that, but because he is mean and abusive to this adorable little baby girl robot. And it messed me up so bad after I did that session that I had to go into my daughter's bedroom and just sit on the floor and hug my girls. I felt bad. Like I felt really, really, really bad. Like, like the lump in the throat that didn't go away for hours. So I still feel bad.
Is it just called Eden, or you say Eden Zero?
Yeah, Eden Zero, EDEN space ZERO.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Hey, Rory, you did 3 episodes of Witchblade, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she loves Witchblade.
Okay.
No, speak on it. Isn't that like your favorite?
Really?
One of my favorite animes.
It's literally her Instagram.
It's her name right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I loved Witchblade, and then also, oh my God, why am I going blank on these?
Because you've done so much in your career.
I'm pulling it up right now. You have a resume, sir. You have a resume.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Witchblade's comic
Yu Yu
book.
Hakusho? What?
Oh yeah, man, that was my first one. Now Rugby was my first. That was actually my. Yep, that was my first main.
That's Eden Zero for y'all who want to tune in.
Yep.
I thought that was Fairy Tale for a second.
No, I'm Doll in Fairy Tale Dragon Cry. That was the movie. So Fairy Tale Dragon Cry, I'm Doll. I think it was done by the same studio. So, but yeah.
I will say from my end, because I am one of the few people on this earth who is a fan of the Dragon Ball GT series.
Actually, it's coming back around, right? So yeah, Sin Shinron, in all seriousness, he's got some of the best dialogue I've ever said in my entire life. Man, his stuff it's so harsh. I mean, he's such a good villain. And then now that it's coming back around, yeah, there's a new generation that has discovered Dragon Ball GT, and so they're putting a lot of respect on Sin Shinron. So that's been very, very cool. And the fact that I am the 1-star dragon who eats the other Dragon Balls to become Omega Shinron, that doesn't suck. So
they did have you do both. They did have you do.
No. Chris Sabat is Omega Shinron.
I figured. I was like, because it sounded different when he switched it up when he absorbed the Dragon Ball.
So so what happened was, back in the day, Funimation was this tiny studio, and you always have your actors do a lot of different voices. So Chris was there, so he did all the voices, right? And then when I came in that second wave of all the different classic voice actors that were there, I would constantly audition, but I would constantly lose out to Chris because he was more well known, and whereas my voice was deep but would go smooth, his voice was deep but would go gravelly, right?
Right.
And I kept telling him for the longest time, "Stop smoking, Chris! Stop smoking, Chris!" And he was like, "Never." And then he finally did. So good for him. But in all seriousness, so remember how we talk about rising tide raises all boats?
Yeah.
I owe my success in large part to Chris Sabat. Because when he opened up Okratron Studios, you can't voice everything and everybody, right? So then he moved up to that director's role, that producer's role, and so that's when he brought me on for Halo Wars, D Gray Man. What else did I do? I did a bunch of stuff there at Okratron. I love Okratron. Actually, I was doing some stuff for Okratron just recently. I think I could talk about it. We're doing simuldubs. I think I can talk about it because we're doing simuldubs. Let's say there's a series on Crunchyroll that's out every Friday night that's really good, and we're in the 3rd season. And I think that the first 2 episodes have already come out, so it should be obvious that I'm in a series that's being released every Friday.
Don't get sued. Don't get sued.
Right, exactly.
You and Jesse in the same seat.
Oh yeah.
Them NDAs, don't tap dance around them NDAs.
Yeah.
Actually, Jesse, I got a question for you.
Yes,
so,
sir.
So right now there's this big event happening in Atlanta called like the 100 Black Men of America. It used to be 100 Black Men of Atlanta, right? So it's like basically a bunch of old school guys that have all done really well. Well, one of the vendors there is an animation studio by the name of Flare Nova. Flare Nova. I want you guys to write that down because you'll probably have them on in the future for a guest. But they were at this Afro animation event in Burbank last year. And then, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly how you spell it. But they were at this Afro animation conference last year, and like they were the only indie studio there. But there was like Pixar, Disney. I mean, basically Disney was. This is when they brought in the 10 directors for the anthology. You know, like their African Disney Plus anthology, like the really amazing animation and stuff like that. Yeah, so all that stuff happens. Where they have these small conferences, and this is where it's a good thing to be in California because you can just make those day trips anytime and all the time. So Jesse, as an independent studio who's working on stuff and who has had projects canceled at different times that I've produced and directed, what are some of your favorite practices and best tips for aspiring creatives and indie studios?
Oh my God. So I could definitely speak on like the indie or like the aspiring creative side.
Yeah.
For sure. Biggest thing is just do it. I mean, I know it's like a Shia LaBeouf meme, but at this point, but it's honestly you learn so much from making so many mistakes, and I learned that the hard way. I was afraid of failure, 100% through and through, and it wasn't until I had like a support system to help me embrace failure. That's when it just exploded to everything.
That's the neighborhood. That is exactly what the neighborhood studio is all about. I have always said the neighborhood studio is your safe, fun, creative space to come play, hang out, pursue your creative bliss, and mess up. You don't have to be perfect, right? It's by failing that we learn, right? And then there's a quote of like, I have failed over and over and over again, and that is why I have succeeded. So again, you're exactly right? You got to do it, right? Just like Mr. B says, you got to make 100 videos.
Yes.
But then, right? A lot of it is who you know. So when it comes to that sort of thing, what are your best sources and resources for you? Like, is it for Seed and Spark? Like for those aspiring indie creatives, is it making sure you get a certain type of portfolio together? Talk to us about your path.
My path?
Yeah, dude, I think actually, look, first of all, previs artists are awesome. You're gifted artists. And then action designer means that you understand motion way better than a lot of other people. So I think that's very, very cool. So,
I had good reference. That's where I got lucky.
Okay. Where?
So my journey started. So it's who you know, 100%. So my best network was college. Especially the professors. I went to LA Film School, and they're all working professors working in the industry, and it's them that got me in. You show that you just do it. They don't care if you fail or pass. They care you do it. They care that you care. And it was through one of my professors. His name's Gary Suisa. He's a technical artist, and he lives in Japan now. And he got me into motion capture after I graduated, and from there I went to Neudem, where I learned the art of motion capture and technical directing and all that good fun stuff. And then after that, I got into contact with Action Design. You guys may not know them, or you guys have probably seen their work but don't know them too much. They're the guys behind the church scene in Kingsman. And they're the guys that designed that, and they're the guys that did the Shang-Chi and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
They're the ones, man. So they're amazing. Okay.
Yeah, so you've definitely seen their work.
Yes,
and
Shang-Chi was incredible.
Yeah, I'd like when they told me, it's like, hey, we're doing motion capture for Action Design. Can you help me out? And I'm like, sure. Okay. I went, I met, Mark Ginther, Brad Allen, Guillermo Crispo, these huge stunt action people. And they're just like, hey, they're evolving too. That's the one other thing for all the artists out there. We never stop. We always evolve. Everything's changing now with AI. It's going to evolve even faster.
Yeah. Man, that's a whole segue into a whole new chapter. Yes. Yeah. So I had to pivot on that one in a major way.
Oh my God. Yeah. But they're evolving, and they want to bring everything into the 3D world for stuff, and then that's why they hired me. And then they hired me because they like my eye, they like my taste, and they cared more about my work ethic than they did my skill. Because my boss's thing is like, you can teach a man a new skill, but you can't teach a man a new personality.
That's true. That is very true. So that's where it's very important to be able to work together with people. So since not everybody is in California or in New York City or in a major city, one of the things I always try to tell people, as you are creating, there are certain ways that you can do that where you can have others who are like-minded, right? So in Atlanta, you've got the Georgia Game Developers Association, but you have a Game Developers Association in every state in the country. You've also got the International Game Developers Association, and then Blender is free, Unreal Engine is free, Unity is free. Well, not anymore. Not anymore. But also talking about augmented reality, Niantic just opened up, is it Lightspeed? Yeah, Lightspeed is free, and they're trying to make that open source. So that's one I would absolutely recommend. Oh, the big one, UEFN, Unreal Engine for Fortnite. That's going to be the new major platform because Disney and Fortnite both just dumped like 10 or 20 billion dollars into it. And then, so like anybody that's thinking about coming up, like whatever you're wanting to do creatively, learn Verse. I think that's the coding programming that they're doing with it. And then also, see, I came up in Atlanta and we didn't have a lot of that stuff, but through improv comedy groups, again, creatives hanging out through improv comedy, I got over my fear of failure and my fear of looking foolish, because again, I like to, I joke, I put the fun in dysfunctional, but you like to have a good time and laugh and help people and make people feel better. And so that's what helped me get over my fear of looking foolish and failure. And then again, you're going to find those creatives to help you, right? So game jams are very important, or even if you don't know anything, whether it's a 48-hour film festival or a game jam or a writer's weekend, whatever your type of creative, there are groups where you can get together and actually do your thing, right? So if it's going to be drawing, if it's going to be writing, if it's painting, if it's filming, if it's performing, do the groups. Meetup.com. You're don't just do the club hookups, like where you're going to have the quote unquote industry party. They're just looking to hook up. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some great music, but that's not where you're going to look. The people who want to create are going to create, right? Especially when it comes to your brilliant artists, they tend to be introverts. So, me being loud scares people. So then I have to make sure that I bring it down and calm down and chill out. But do your meetup groups for everybody that's watching this, for anybody that's thinking about getting in, just do your
and
meetup
also
groups.
To add on top of that, the biggest thing. So don't be afraid to ask questions to artists. I go on ArtStation all the time, to LinkedIn, and every single one of them was so helpful. They all, I was like, hey, well, how's my art? I was like, hey, I love your art. Can you give me tips? Can you critique my art? And every single one of them was like, yeah. So try this. I do this. This is my workflow. And everyone is so nice. It's such a great community, the artist community.
And then also what you're talking about is also good for breaking through people's bubbles of busy, because as we get older, we have more and more stuff that we have to do. But when people are asking questions, we're inclined to try to help them. And then, look, successful directors and producers are just the geeks of their generation, right? They're the nerds and the geeks of their generation. So they will appreciate whatever it is that you're saying, the stuff that you're thinking about. So definitely don't be intimidated by me. Look, Mealers, you and Khan had me at gaming. Look, as soon as you were talking about dice, again, you can call me or text me anytime. Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get into one of your D&Ds because I'm a first timer. Like I said,
I got a waiting list for those though. I do have a waiting list for my campaigns, but just so you know, you guys are at the head of the list. You are at the head of the list. So one of the things I'm thinking about trying is DC-20. It's this new system that's like a blend of D&D 5e and Pathfinder, right? And I love Pathfinder too. Second edition is amazing, but it's too crunchy for a lot of people. And so DC-20 simplifies a lot of things, but it still maintains the builds and the creativity. And so mechanically, it's amazing, even though it's an easier system than D&D. So, but again, you know what? There I go again, getting a little too.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I don't know. This is a great time to transition because I know you said it's late out there. I don't.
Oh, ask me anything, man. I'm up. I told you I took a 5-hour energy. I'm good.
Okay, good. Because I don't know how long I got you because I remember you asked. So I was like,
okay, the show is 2 hours. Let's do this.
All right. So look,
he a soldier. He is a soldier.
Yes, sir.
Look,
Okay, so
hey, you know what? Wait. Let me move so y'all can get that right there. Get that QR code. Don't forget, I love my playlist.
Got
playlist
you.
Fire. What did you? You know what?
Again.
There you go. Get that one right there in the middle. This one right here. Yeah.
There you go.
So obviously you can go to ShaoKhan.com, but that is the playlist that we came up with. What did you think? Right? I hit every genre, reggaeton.
We listened to it all. Had a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right? The K-pop stuff was amazing. The J-pop was really good. And then the British grime, I was like, oh my God, it's hits. Yes. I mean, like, right? That stuff was like, there's some bangers in there. Seriously. And then even like the club EDM stuff was good.
Also like that mix that you was giving us with like James Brown with Kiss.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. My mashups. Yes.
Yeah, it was mashups. And he just kept playing it out of his Shao Khan like helmet type thing. Yeah. And it was just we was over there jamming. Like people was coming over like, oh man, what?
Yes.
It was really good music.
Yeah, so a couple of shout outs to DJ Cummerbund. Cummerbund, right? Like you're going to a prom, CUMMERBUND, DJ Cummerbund. And then
Georgia.
No, not Cumberland, Cummerbund. Like a literal like when you're wearing a tuxedo going to prom, right? You're wearing that cummerbund. DJ Cummerbund, and then also I want to say Bill McClintock. It's either Bill or William McClintock.
No, it's Bill.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That one though, right? Like Marvin Gaye and Aerosmith, or let's see, Aretha Franklin and Aerosmith, Marvin Gaye and Rat. My best one, Kiss and Earth, Wind and Fire. That one still cracks me up. Oh my God, it's so funny. It's so good too. I mean, it's seamless. Absolutely seamless.
You would have swore like that was the original song. Like that's how well they blend.
Yes.
Like it's super good. Like it's the perfect balance between those two genres.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes.
Oh, real quick. Is that so that laugh that you're doing real quick, that's your natural Shao Khan laugh, right? Or is it up?
Yes, this is my laugh when I'm having a good time. So I told you guys this story, right? So the entire reason why I made Shao Khan very close to my voice. Not everybody knows this, but you know how you got your family, your cousins, your brothers, your best friends, the ones you play video games with, that you talk trash, right? That you're like, suck this, and like whatever. I mean, you're like saying the stuff that's totally inappropriate that you could never say publicly, right? Okay, so we were in that kind of weekend playing Soul Calibur, and you know how one of you will eventually like level up over the other person, and it goes up. And okay, so I had been destroying my friend Bill, 12 matches to none in Soul Calibur, just crushing him with Lee Long, knocking him off the raft and throwing him into the river with the nunchucks, or like running him through with Taki. You know what I mean? Like the whole ninjutsu. Like again, just destroying him. Beat him a final 13th match in a row. And that's when I said, it's official, you suck, right? And that's when he got so mad, he took my PlayStation controller and smashed it into the floor, shattering my controller, right? I mean, again, this is before One Punch Man, right? Remember when One Punch Man, so again, this happened, like Bill he owed me a new PlayStation controller. He was mad. So when I got cast for Shao Khan, I knew that I had to have that level of antagonism to really, really make people mad, right? So that's why I kept it as my voice. And then that's me when I'm wrecking people. And I used to be very good at video games, and that was my taunting laugh. So that is very real. So as a personal stick to Bill, he had to live through that for years and years and years playing that video game. And then even now, every time that story comes up, he knows where it came from. That's like a best friend thing that's like, classic. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm very, very excited about that.
Speaking about the history of Mortal Kombat, I was doing research on you, and I found out that you spent your first paycheck on Mortal Kombat.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah.
Your whole first paycheck?
My whole first paycheck, like $93 on Mortal Kombat.
Ooh.
Yeah, so like Friday nights, you go out with your book. Again, my boys Bill and Jason and Casey, we went out and we went bowling. It was a Friday night, and I was putting on my shoes, and I heard, "Come here, get over here," and I was like, "What was that?" Right? And there was this crowd gathered at the arcade, and I mean, it was like 20 people deep, and I was like, "What's going on over here?" And I walked over there, and they were just destroying each other, right? With Raiden and Scorpion and Sub-Zero and Kano and Baraka. And it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I was watching, and then I was asking a guy how to do the moves, and he said, "It's pay-per-view, baby. It's pay-per-view. Put the quarters in. Let's step up. Let's go." So 91.75 later,
oh man.
Insane.
I can kick some ass with Raiden, though. Let me tell you something. Raiden. Yeah, that was my guy. Raiden. Woo, I was good.
I don't know what he used to say when he flew across the screen, but it always sounded like he said, "Drop it like it's hot." That's what
Yes. You know what? That's exactly right. It says whatever you want to say when you're talking trash to somebody so you could beat them in that game, because that is just that visceral heat, right? And that's where, in all seriousness, as much as I loved Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter is number one for talking trash to people, especially as Balrog, to be one of the greatest fighters of any incarnation, right? I mean, if you're talking any fighting game, the fact that Street Fighter holds its own against Tekken, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, I mean, all of them, right? And Street Fighter is even bigger and better than ever. Street Fighter 6 is amazing. The fact that you can create your own character, right? You could create a Captain Diesel, a Dr. K, a Mealers, a Khan, and a Jesse, and you can make it your own skin and then travel around the world whooping ass. It's incredible. Absolutely love Street Fighter 6. Really cool.
We have in our garage right now, we have the Street Fighter arcade box. Like, as if you're in an arcade, we have that. So we play that.
I love that. So I used to have the Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition Hyper Fighting. Ooh, that was tough. That was so tough because it was so fast. Like, I mean, Street Fighter is so fast, and then you got all these variations, right? With all like the Marvel, Capcom, all those like the spin-offs. But like when you're playing pure Street Fighter, as good as I was back in the day, I can't keep up with the new generation now, and it's just so incredible. But I can talk trash on their behalf, especially if they're playing my characters, and that is a lot of fun.
Speaking about your characters and doing Street Fighter, let's get into this crazy ruling that Death Battle gave us.
Man.
Balrog versus TJ Combo.
Man. That is some BS.
They did your boy dirty.
Yeah, they did. That was messed up. You know what that was? That was them. Think about your voting pool, right? Let's talk about voting pools, right? Did they take a true statistical sample? I don't think so. Right?
They never do.
Exactly. So no.
That show is really based.
I don't even know why you brought that up here anymore. Death Battle is terrible. They are like the worst people on YouTube. I swear to God.
I can't say the worst people, but
yeah, that's a bold statement.
they do. You can tell they're biased in a lot of decisions. I can tell like sometimes for certain characters they make a decision on who they want to win, and then they go about finding statistics.
Yes, and then they take away statistics from people and give extra statistics to the one that they want to win, Just
I knew they didn't care when they did Goku and Superman for the third time, and they were like, "Yeah, just so you know, he still wins."
Yeah, they wanted the clip.
They literally said at the end, "Give it a rest, let it go."
Leave us alone.
Hold on, I want to talk about
transform 1,000 times. It wouldn't matter.
So Jesse, when it comes to fighting and it comes to like the Acolyte, okay? Because again, May was impressive. I mean, anybody that could take on Jedi and win. Where did that come from? Who was the choreographer, or where was the reasoning and the rationale behind that fighting style? Because that's something else, right? I mean, when it comes to Star Wars, that lore is deep because they talk about different lightsaber techniques and the fighting styles and how the witches of Dathomir have their own fighting styles versus other people. And I mean, we're starting to get into episode 3, but let's talk about May because again, her as an assassin. Wait, I'm sorry. Did I jump the gun, Con?
I got you. I mean, go ahead and say it. You go ahead and say it, Jesse. I got you though.
No. So, of course, I'm under NDA.
Right, but you can talk about episode 1. You can talk about episode 1.
I can't even talk about any of the episodes right now. They're sort of like, it's like, hey man, just if they ask you anything about the Acolyte, just kind of shy away. But I can say, Liu Junchang, he is the lead. He was the choreographer for all the fight scenes, and Guillermo Crispo was the fight coordinator for all the fight scenes. But of course, the vision behind it all, the ones like what you see, the one who kind of guided everybody, sort of like us bag of cats, was Christopher Cowan. You guys, have you ever saw live action My Hero, UALA?
Yeah.
He was the guy behind that.
Okay.
He also did Wonder Woman. He did an episode on The Witcher. It's the fight, like the first fight scene in The Witcher was. He was
amazing.
That. Very cool. Props all to him. He was the guy that sort of, like if people love the fight scenes, it's him. It's his vision. Of course, with the help of Lou, they're like a dynamic duo. Okay. And my job was to, of course.
Wait, you better change the subject. They're coming to get you. I just heard
that's not what he's talking.
The Disney police, man. Be careful.
Mouse is not playing.
Mouse does not play.
I know, Daddy Mickey. I am sorry, but I mean, I'm just saying who worked on it. Just I have to give credit where credit's due.
I can dive a little bit deeper on that because I've seen some interviews with the choreographers discussing how they did a hard focus on infusing multiple martial arts into the different styles. I know Krav Maga was a big influence, Taekwondo, Judo, a lot of martial arts in that nature. And then, like to your point, when you're talking about a lot of the forms that they have in Star Wars combat in regards to like form 1 through 7, and then the one random one that Mace Windu did.
Don't hate on Mace Windu, man.
You don't know. You don't know about
me. He's gone to the dark side.
He don't know about me. He don't even know about me. I love Mace Windu. Mace Windu is probably my second favorite character in all of Star Wars.
Okay, but again,
I know I got the props for him. But with Vapad, him creating Vapad out of the mixture. The one thing that I found interesting here, because we are in the High Republic era,
FFG somewhere around here.
Hold on, I got my.
I'm in that campaign too. I'm deep in that one.
No, he's not grabbing the save.
Shelf real quick.
Yes, he is.
For people that don't know, I am the Star Wars fanatic. I had to go get my stuff real quick.
Are you running? Are you running a game, or are you just playing in the game? Are you like I love Sentinels. So like my thing was Sentinels and Shaiicho Knights, and actually right now I'm going with what am I doing? I'm trying to flex on the fear aspect of it. So what am I doing right now? And you know what? Never mind. Again, this is where we start going deep into the nerd culture.
Right? Yeah, he's a big Star Wars fan. So this is
this is really extended
cool.
lore. I've had enough conversations on the podcast about it, but in regards to the High Republic era, I do know that this unarmed martial combat is a new thing that they developed for like this era in regards to how they combat. And I love, again, Jesse can't talk about a lot of details on it, but I love the detail they implement in regards to storytelling within their choreography. Like looking at the first episode in particular, obviously you see them take a lot of inspiration from something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon with the wire work stuff they do. But the thing that I thought was the dopest was that when you watch May fight, I can't remember her name, Carrie-Anne Moss's character.
Kendara.
But
let me hold on. Which one y'all want to talk about? Because I got slides for this. So we talk about May, or we talk about Indara?
Yeah, episode 1.
Yeah, this is the first fight in episode 1.
Fight.
Yeah. I want to put out there though, if once the finale's out, I'm fair game. Like,
Okay.
Bring it back. I will give you all
right, perfect.
Cool stuff.
But okay. So
that'll be right around Shao Khan. Perfect.
Sure.
So we're doing an episode part 2 to this after the finale is over. Jesse says he's gonna give us some behind the scenes scoop. So if you want to come back, Bob, I don't know if you're gonna be available, but then we can really get deep into the.
Y'all have me. Look, again, we are going to be friends for life. Y'all going to be sick of, man, Bob's calling again. Oh my God.
That's what Mealers like to say.
Voicemail. But in all seriousness, so for Shao Khan, so picture Enter the Dragon meets Cobra Kai meets Big Trouble in Little China, right? Enter the Dragon, you got the feast, the celebration before the tournament. So I'm going to feature a lot of the diversity and the culture that Atlanta has. So I've got Chin Hong School of Kung Fu doing a lion dance. I've got Bushinkan Ryu Dojo doing a ninjutsu demonstration. I've got the 501st Lightsaber Guild doing a saber duel. So that's another reason for you to come on out, Captain Diesel, right?
I've talked to them a couple times at different cons.
So actually the godparents of my firstborn are like the head of the Mando Mercs. I mean, like, I'm not kidding, man. I'm like we're deep in it here in Atlanta, okay? Look, Dragon Con, y'all know what Dragon Con is about, right? If you don't know Dragon Con, you need to just look up the old YouTube videos. We've had 5,000 stormtroopers marching up Peachtree Street, and it was amazing. It looked like the Empire took over Atlanta. We got the 501st now has like the big Jawa vehicle, you know, like the one on Tatooine, like the droid sales vehicle. Like, we've got that goes up Peachtree at Dragon Con. We've got every type of fandom in Atlanta you could have. We got you love Halo. We've got all of the Halo legions and the group and the Covenant, the Arbiters, whatever your fandom is, it's here, right? In terms of, I mean, all kinds of makers, and in terms of cosplay and armoring and stuff like that. My favorite, though, is when you get into the crossplay, right? Because again, you get these brilliant people who are not just going to do like 300, right? Where you got your CrossFit people, you got the 350, where it's like the fat old people who are retired, and then they're just like walking with a beer gut. Right? Or you got Jon Snow White, where you got like from Game of Thrones meets Disney, right? So again, a guy with a beard and the big bear cloak dressed up in a Snow White dress. So again, you get all kinds of crazy stuff at Dragon Con, and it's purely organic. We love our geek culture here. So definitely.
So speaking of cosplays, even though my boy couldn't be here today, Straw Hat Juffy, me and him did Amazing Con at in what do you call that, Las Vegas, and this is us dressed up in Star Wars. So you know, unfortunately, my lightsaber ran out of juice. But you know, we actually did do a duel that day. So yeah.
I mean, Nodus is a ghost anyway. You're fine. You got ghost powers. You'll be all right.
That's true.
There you go.
Well, I think one of my cosplays, you know what, in all seriousness, May reminded me, you know, that there's more than just the Jedi, right? I used to love the Jedi, but now I'm starting to feel more, honestly, I find myself more of a gray Jedi. And even because I'm all about passion, you know, if you look at the Sith, if you look at the code of the Sith, it's not evil, right? The code of the Sith is all about passion, and I'm okay with that. So I'm all about, I could totally be a Sith. Now, I'm not going to be evil. We know I'm not evil, but I could be, let's just say that when it comes to like the crossplay, this for Dragon Con, I'm really considering about being House Slytherin.
Slytherin is hilarious.
Oh, they do it.
Thank you. Yes. So again, right, having the Harry Potter style, right, the black and green, and then the green blade. Yeah.
That'd be
House Slytherin.
Are you going to Dragon Con?
Oh, that's my con. That was my con. That was my con before any other con. Before I knew what cons were, that was the first one that introduced geek culture to me. I just told my son this yesterday. The thing that made me want to do anime, like really made me want to do anime, was when I saw Ninja Scroll in the middle of the night in the basement of the Hyatt Hotel, because they were showing the old anime movies and stuff like that. This is, like, again, this is pre-internet. So, this stuff was exclusive, right? You had to like know somebody who knew somebody that came from Japan that had the good anime. You have to pay like $30. You would have to pay $20 and $30 for one 30-minute episode of an anime, because that's how expensive it was when you're bringing it in. So like each of your friends would get one of those episodes, and then everybody would get together for anime night, and you'd all have a collection, right? So like that's how we watched Bubblegum Crisis or Escaflowne or some of those classics that are really, really good that still hold up. But seriously, Ninja Scroll was amazing. And when you have that experience and you're in college and it's like, what is this? This is amazing. And then that opportunity comes up. Yeah, you jump on it. So
speaking about Ninja Scroll, do you when somebody brought up Yasuke earlier, do you feel like the anime for Yasuke, had it came out during those years, it would be more popular today? Like, it would be more appreciated? Because I feel like Ninja Scroll and Yasuke wasn't that different.
No, they're not. But again, think about some anime today is, again, 30 frames a second, right? So it's HD, it's in your face. The detail is incredible. Now, conversely, what has happened to One Piece? My son is watching it, and I'm just like, I can't watch One Piece anymore because it's garbage, right? It's like, oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. The action is amazing, right? So the animation and the action is incredible, but their attention to detail, right? So again, you get into differences in animation styles, first of all, right? Like differences in illustration styles. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same kind of reason why I can't watch like Adventure Time or
Nah, that's what you're missing out. We can't.
I love the plot. I love the plot. I love the plot. Okay, let me be clear. I love the plot, but it's the style of animation that's bothering me. You see what I'm saying?
I can understand. You watch One Piece. That's bothersome.
Yes, One Piece is bothersome. Again, I'm Dory, right? I mean, yeah, One Piece was not perfect, right? Even when you looked at One Piece, I was like, okay, this is okay, but then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's like, it's frustrating me, right? Because now you're like 1,600 episodes in, and it's clear that they've moved other artists away to other projects, and now they're just like rushing through everything, and you can't do that. And that's, in all seriousness, that is where AI would absolutely help, because it would maintain the integrity of the illustration, and it, that way they could do more with less, which is what they're doing anyway, instead of making the product suffer. But yeah, it's very frustrating. So again, you get things like One Piece, but then you get things like Licorice Recoil, right? And so that's another one where it's beautiful. It's or Jujutsu Kaisen, it's beautiful. Or Blue-Eyed Samurai. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh look, I just gave myself chills. I'm on a panel in 2 weeks with somebody that worked on Blue-Eyed Samurai, and talk about fanboy. Ooh, man, I love that series. God. Yeah.
To me, the storytelling was amazing. The animation was fire.
Yes.
There was so many layers to the show. You know what I mean? It was like kind of like Mulan, but I feel like it was Mulan meets like Kill Bill in my mind. That's how I look at it.
Yeah,
that's honestly a perfect summary.
That's a very good. Wait. Also, in all seriousness, the storytelling reminded me of, honestly, the next generation of like Avatar or Legend of Korra for the next generation, because it was grown up, right? I mean, that was
about Avatar.
I didn't know you liked that.
Wait, what?
She got the picture behind her. She got a poster behind her.
Yeah, I know. I love that, by the way. I meant to say something about that. Look, Avatar and Legend of Korra are my favorite animation series ever.
I'll be right there.
I got a question.
I'm all in on the world of Avatar. The reason why, and this is the beauty of what they created, all right? Number one, the story, the fact that the characters level from just being kids all the way up to masters, right? I mean, by the time you get to that final, man, Book of Fire, every episode, Book of Fire. Again, I'm giving myself chills. As beautiful and perfect and pristine as Avatar: The Last Airbender was, now you got an entire generation of fanboys and fangirls that are as rabid as Star Wars, right? So you got like that hardcore, they're going to live in that bubble forever. Yeah. But then the creator said no. They forced an entire generation, myself included, they forced an entire generation of fanboys and fangirls to mature, because Legend of Korra dealt with a teenage female who could kick ass because she already knew her fighting ability, but she had to deal with the more spiritual side of Avatar, again, it's like trying to teach kids civil rights. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear that. They want to see butt stomping and kicking, like they want good, clean vengeance, good, clean stories. But then when you teach them about morality and spirituality, and then failure and trauma and recovering, a lot of people were not ready, myself included, for Legend of Korra, right? Mm-hmm. But then, because you love the world and you're going to go back, right? You'll go back and you'll watch it again another year later, and you're like, oh man, this is so good. Well, let me try Legend of Korra. And then you watch it again and you're like, oh my God, this is beautiful, right? And then you realize the beauty of the world that they created and the fact that it evolved. And that's the big thing, right? Because that's where George Lucas, Star Wars had a real hard time because they didn't evolve and they got too locked in on the story of the Skywalkers, right? And now they're breaking out, thanks to Dave Filoni. All praise Dave Filoni. Oh my God, I'm loving Dave Filoni. Yes. But in all seriousness, right. So in all seriousness, you've got two separate generations of Avatar fans now that, again, you forced them to deal with adult situations, right? In terms of ways that were healthy, right? And a support group that was supportive of one another. And then you're dealing with all emotions. You're dealing with friendships, with relationships of all types. And it's a beautiful thing. And then there's going to be a new generation. So now I'm excited about what's coming up. And now, again, the people who were teenagers, who are now 20-somethings, and then the 20-somethings who are now 30-somethings, now they're starting to have kids. So there's going to be 3 different generations. And again, you're forcing an evolution of fandom. And so there's this maturation and this appreciation. Thank you.
Forcing. I like that.
Let me ask you a question.
It's a great analogy. I love that.
Thank you. But yeah, you're getting this maturation of fandom that is inclusive and is really appreciative. They've made people smarter and better with what they created. And I love that. And that is something that Blue-Eyed Samurai touches on, but in an adult way, right? And that's where Blue-Eyed Samurai is like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Like, this is beautiful. And where did this come from, right? Like you know, there's the couple, right? It's the female and the male. And I started looking them up. I'm going to go introduce myself to them. I'm be like, hey, I want to be a resource for you. Let's work together. So again, this is me being a big fan, a big nerd.
No, we love it because you speak in our language and you see Charlie Kool-Aid smile. You touching on a subject that we have debated between each other. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him speak. Go ahead.
Yeah,
bro.
let me ask you this quick question. We debated this too. Oh no, we don't ask this. We don't ask this. This question is getting asked.
Oh, okay.
Because we've had an extensive debate off camera one night where we had a discussion over who had a more difficult journey as an avatar.
Oh my God.
Aang and Korra, obviously. From my perspective, I'm looking at the things she had to encounter that Aang did not have to encounter in regards to somebody like oh my God, I just watched it. I'm forgetting names.
Any of the masters. Again, Korra had to fight the people who would have beaten Aang. Korra had to fight some of the greatest benders ever.
Generational benders that did not even exist. Because my whole thing is, my biggest point that I brought up was the factor of, in this world, lightning bending or bending lightning is something that is just casually that they do for work, for just for finance to go be a factory worker. At that point in the series, back in the day, it was this legendary thing that only 2 to 3 people knew how to do. And Aang's big hurdle was learning how to not just do it, but redirect it. And now they're doing this on an everyday basis. You had Ty Lee, who's this amazing villain, who her big thing was taking away your bending by hitting your pressure points. And now Korra is fighting a platoon of Ty Lees at one time. Amen. Amen.
However, wait. But to Khan's point,
what?
It's hard to be the first. It's hard to be a pioneer because, again, nobody has done that before. You know, I mean, again, he had to discover these new things. Now, evolution, you know, that's like asking, you know, who's the greatest of all time, right? You know, who's the fastest runner of all time? Usain Bolt. Time, genetics, training, evolution, training, nutrition. You know what I mean? Like all of it has come to where the 100 years later, you know, Usain Bolt is going to blow away Jim Thorpe or even Jesse Owens every single time. But in terms of their world and their time, think about it. Jesse Owens standing up against Hitler, right? Aang, a kid standing up against Fire Lord Ozai. So you got to put respect on what he accomplished. And Team Aang is amazing. But Team Korra, yes, they are powerful. But also, even for what she had to experience, where she broke the Avatar, right? So she broke the Avatar, right? So, yeah. Y'all,
and I would agree with that point more if there's a blueprint. Because dealing with Zahir and dealing with other people, Korra had to figure that out on her own. There wasn't a blueprint.
Now, wait. There's not a blueprint that we know of, but apparently there's the graphic novel, and then also the creators, you know, they've got Bibles, like not just 1 or 2 Bibles of the stories, but Bibles, plural. Because remember, Nickelodeon, when they came back, they said, hey, here are the keys. There's SpongeBob and there's y'all. Here are the keys to Nickelodeon. Run with it. So like I said, it's taken 10 years, but there's going to be like Avatar World, and there's going to be, you know, this new third generation and then the fourth generation, and they're going to open it up at the amusement parks. So I'm crossing my fingers that Nickelodeon's going to get it right, and that there's no corporate espionage moles from the mouse who are going to sabotage them like they did over at Warner Brothers in DC. So
you made me happy. You made me happy.
Real quick.
I like his answer.
Jesse,
I'm satisfied.
Before we go further, are you a fan of Avatar?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I said that sounds like a no. Are you a fan of Avatar?
Yes, I am a fan of Avatar.
Okay, cool. Because I don't want to lose you in this conversation. You
No,
know what I mean?
no.
Okay, cool. So before I go in, Dr. K, you know, you have a lot of diagnosis and prognosis for people. Would you like to take this, or would you like for me to, you know what I mean?
Go ahead and give up that malpractice, doctor.
But forgive me about my camera being off.
I've had 15,000 conversations with y'all about this whole situation, and y'all already know where I stood when it came to Korra being a full teenager, being able to do what she could do that Aang was not able to, because Aang was 10 and frozen for however many long
years. Yeah.
Did she have tough battles? Absolutely 100%. But like Bob said, y'all don't take away from Aang, and trying to use her age as a crutch when it came to her power, and she was fighting grown adults. She was a grown adult when she started fighting later on in book 2 or 3. By the time she was like 17, 18.
And she was fully grown. But remember, her spiritual journey was different, right? So again, her spiritual journey was different from Aang's. So they both have, again, for what they both experienced, let's just say that they are the defining pillars of the avatars. Okay, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, don't call it like, you know, who's the greatest, Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal. Like they are each great in what they do. Okay. Right. So, but again, they've got different positions, right? So, and also a different generation. Let's just say that LeBron James is the greatest player of this generation. Kobe Bryant was the greatest player of the previous generation. Well, no, he wasn't, because he was self-fought. But
wait a minute.
He grew into it. He grew into it. But in all seriousness, Shaq was actually the greatest player because he was more of a team player. He was more of a team player. Jordan is mine because, again, I grew up as a kid seeing Jordan. But remember, Jordan wasn't Jordan without Pippen, right? Jordan was not Jordan without Pippen. Every team Shaq went to, he made a winner, right? He made them win a championship. So Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest. Big Shot Robert Horry, one of the greatest. And then Phil Jackson, greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
Yes. But so again, you got to just recognize greatness, right? So in that case, Aang, amazing. Korra, amazing. This new Earthbender avatar, what they're going to bring together, all we can do is hope and pray. And the cool thing is that we'll actually be open to the possibilities, whereas we weren't before with Korra, right? Remember, we were not originally open to Korra, but this is where, thank God for Netflix, in all seriousness, because that opened up our eyes by being able to rewatch it. And then again, you're like, man, this is incredible. Right? The power, the action, the way that the action design, the way that they choreographed everything, the way that they came up with powers. That's the kind of stuff where you know those people are gamers. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you got airbending. This is what you like. What can you do with you've got all of this? And you know, they're not the monks of old. That guy was killing people. He was stealing their breath, dude. Stealing breath, waterbending. Oh man, it was fire.
I'm gonna ask one question and then I'm gonna make a statement.
Oh,
Mr. Bob Carter.
Yes.
Since you made a basketball reference, who would be Aang and who would be Korra? Give them two athletes that you would compare them to, since you brought up the reference.
Well, you know what? I brought up the reference. Like I said, Jesse Owens and Usain Bolt. Let's use those as references, right? Okay. Jesse Owens. Think about what he did like at World War II. So again, you're talking about racism, global racism, where, and I mean, you know, Hitler is talking about the supremacy and eugenics and blah, 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 the supremacy of the white race. And Jesse Owens went into Berlin, Germany. you're going into, I mean, literally going into the heart of darkness, right? Like imagine, talk about a crusade. That's a one-man crusade. Jesse Owens went in to a very, like, ultimately hostile area and won. He won in the face of the enemy. Think about how tough it is right now if somebody says something harsh to us and, you know, they cut down our self-confidence, right? So when you think about what Jesse Owens had to deal with, right? I mean, that's even more than what Jackie Robinson had to deal with. You know what I mean? Because at least Jackie Robinson was getting the support of his team. Jesse Owens was like, one man, it's track. And he went into Germany, Nazi Germany, and just did it. He was the first, right? So that's Aang. So think about how amazing that is. That's Aang. But then after 70 years and the entire world is faster because everybody in the world is running, everybody in the world is juicing, everybody in the world is doing steroids, then they stop doing steroids, but still the race times are faster because we are, again, genetically evolved, training evolved, generationally evolved. Now you're talking about Korra, right? So Korra is Usain Bolt. Right? So now you're talking about Usain Bolt. And when you watched Usain Bolt run, man, there's no question he is the best, right? So that's what's up. So again, you just have to respect both of them and don't call them better than, just respect what they did in their generations.
Jesse, would you like to chime in before I say something?
I will say, Aang walked so Korra could run.
Yes.
My perspective.
Yes.
I acknowledge the troubles and tribulations Aang went through, but I love the evolution that Korra went. I love how they changed the action to more simplified bending, and I thought it gave a new perspective on action.
Yes.
I even got to meet Brian Kaneka. I can't say his name. Yeah. And I got to meet a couple of the wushu artists that he uses for reference for his stuff, and it's
very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. Just so you know, that has inspired me. So now I tell you what, we're going to talk about being indie creators. Okay. So again, I don't have the budget of Hollywood, but I do have imagination. I joke about the fact that I've got the fastest imagination in the West. Okay. So that absolutely inspired me. So watching the way that they made Avatar with the different martial arts fighting styles for each element, right, in terms of the bending. So Chin Hong School of Kung Fu. There's a big difference between Hungar Kung Fu, which is like earth bending, right? It's all like in the legs and it's, you know, it's like the 5 animals, versus Northern Eagle Claw style, which is more of the fire bending that they did, right? So when I was learning martial arts, right, I learned an appreciation for that. So in one of my movies that I'm looking to make, I'm actually going to use different types of martial arts. Remember how I told you Shao Khan is going to feature Chin Hong School of Kung Fu, Bujinkan Ryu, the Lightsaber Guild, Brazilian Capoeira Rota of Decatur? It's because I did a lot of martial arts and I know these different people and they stuck with it. So good for them. My ADD, I didn't. But I'm leveraging those relationships now, but I'm also going to put them in my movie that I want to make, right? And then I'm also, because action is movement, I'm also, like, for elves, I'm going to use a ballet troupe. I'm going to use a dance troupe, and also like parkour, right? So a blend of ballet and parkour would be perfect for elves, right? Because again, you get more of those sweeping leg moves and all that and that sort of thing. And then, you know, when you put people in these different situations and they've got their fighting styles and they can bring that out, well, now as an indie creator, because we can blend, thanks to Blender and Unreal, and thanks to that DICE camera, and thanks to certain areas here in Georgia, now we can film at a fraction of the budget. And did you guys see Rock, Paper, Scissors? Have you guys seen Rock, Paper, Scissors? And okay, so this is, again, write this down, Mealers. Rock, Paper, Scissors, Corridor Digital. This was like dropping a bomb in the animation industry. Jesse, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, that was
it was amazing. Amazing. 5 guys in 8 weeks. 5 guys in 8 weeks did what it used to take a full studio an entire year.
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors anime done by Corridor Digital. So first you're going to watch the video, then you're going to watch the tutorial, which is like a 20-minute tutorial. And then if you really get serious with it, you can do the hour-long tutorial of how they did that with Stable Diffusion. But here's the beauty of that. Those 5 guys inspired indie studio makers like me and Jesse and these other people who have enough of these tools at our disposal to say, okay, what could I make, right? And based on the games that we have run, Mealers, so all your campaigns and things like that you're coming up with, those are brilliant and beautiful, and I love that. So all those games that we have run in the past, we can now visualize them, put those together with stories through Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, Copilot, all the fun AI stuff. And now we can start putting that with video, and then we can start creating certain things with Blender and Unreal, and then we can blend it with UEFN and try to make some fun, creative, multi-dimensional stuff. And that is what's happening right now. And that's the good stuff. That's where it's great to be a creative in this day and age.
Okay.
Facts.
All right. So, oh, go ahead. Anybody want to say something?
Jesse, what are you coming up with that you can talk about?
Oh my
just
God.
Just playing, that you can't talk about, just your own personal stuff that you kind of like been dabbling in or checking out, just stuff,
Also talk about what an action designer does.
Okay. So a lot of my work is in Unreal, actually. Yes. It's been adopted from all the previous artists now that I've met. It's been everything shifting that way because of all the cinematic tools. And so if you really want to make really cool, super fun scenes, like Unreal Blender is the new way to go. It's free. If you want hyper graphics, yes, you will need an expensive computer, but you don't need hyper graphics. You just need a story, a good story to tell. And in the realm of action design, that's it. Is from what I've learned is 100% story. It's action design to me is a love-hate relationship, because I'm the type of artist that loves my work. I love what I make. So when you send it to people who are like, it's trash, and I'm just like, okay, let me cry, and I'll but you take the notes and you fix it, you move on.
Yeah, but that's still hard. That's really hard. And you would hope that because they're creatives themselves, they would appreciate and respect what you've what you have put forth. The fact that you are storyboarding and you are creating the vision that they are living by. So you know what? We'll work together. Don't worry about it. I got something for us.
I'm down.
Good. Yeah, I'm working on a superhero love story, believe it or not, like a modern day. Remember how Superman, the original '80s Superman, was actually full of hope and a love story? I'm gonna make that. There's some beautiful shots around Atlanta, and I'm gonna make that with Blender and Unreal and that Zeiss camera.
The version that ran backwards so he can save the love of his life.
Yeah. So again, I don't know if y'all saw on YouTube, like Man of Steel definitely flexed the power of Superman. I loved that about Man of Steel, right? So that was good, but it broke the spirit of Superman. Superman is all about hope, and it was just too somber. But if you go on YouTube, there's this version where somebody just changed the color, right? So Zack Snyder, he's depressing. He loves his muted colors. He does it on purpose. He does it when he doesn't need to. Okay, it worked for 300, did not work for Batman versus Superman, did not work for Justice League, although props to him for getting out the remake that changed it from being a 2 to a 6. So good for that. But God almighty. You know what? Honestly, that was actually what do you call it? CCA, right? That was CAA. That was their agency, because they killed that franchise. Or I should say the saboteurs of the mouse killed that franchise, because they sabotaged that movie. And there was way too much money at stake. So COVID gave them a chance to re-release it with the Snyder cut. And then you saw, Cyborg was actually great. They should have kept that version. Cyborg was amazing. Anyway, I'm totally getting off track. Getting back to my superhero movie, we need inspiration. That's where Marvel has succeeded, right? Because it's about hope, right? That's why Spider-Man is so successful. That's why, even though I wasn't a fan of Miss Marvel in the comics, I love Kamala Khan. I love that series. It is so fun and playful and colorful and enjoyable, and her spirit, you know what I mean? She was incredible. That turned me into a fan of that. And now the Marvels, they rushed that. That needed help.
Yeah,
but I am still a fan of Kamala Khan, and I love the way that they have brought her into that story. And so we'll see what they do for this, phase 5 and 6 and all that stuff. So, but Marvel is hitting on all cylinders. DC needs to just leave it to the animation department. But the problem is the mouse got in there and sabotaged Warner Brothers, because they put that mole in there and they killed Mortal Kombat. They killed DC. They've killed several franchises So again, corporate espionage is a real thing. To get a little cyberpunk on y'all.
I love cyberpunk, by the way. So, yeah. So let's transition now, Jesse. I hope you stay. I'm not gonna direct no. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But I am gonna transition to Acolyte.
No. Yeah. I am more than honored to stay and
okay.
Listen.
All right, we will. Let's try to protect this man's job.
All right. So he can neither confirm nor deny, but we will look at his face. We're gonna look at his tells. Right. So who's good at poker? Here we go.
All right, hold on. Let me get my. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Well, I brought these characters up, but he just made a reference, and then we didn't actually flesh out talking about these characters. So I'll go back to, I guess, you want to start with May, you want to start with Indara, who we want to talk about?
So let's go by episode, because now we're 3 episodes in. Okay, because that's the way we got to break it down. So episode 1, So episode 1, episode 1, you got Osha, and you're thinking, okay, she's good. She had a raw deal, and she wanted to be a Jedi, but things didn't work out for her. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe she was too old to become a Jedi, and they cast her out, or she wasn't feeling it. All right, fair enough. And then you realize that, oh no, her sister. Now, actually, that was a cool concept, right? The fact that she was a twin, and so the Jedi are going to hunt her down to accuse her of murdering another Jedi. But you would also think that there would be cameras and sensors and droids and footage of that sort of thing. But whatever. And plus, it's Trinity. How are you going to kill Trinity? You're not going to kill Trinity first episode, man. That is just crazy. But it did get my attention, right? I was shocked. That definitely established the threat level of May. So first episode was like, all right, this is cool. I'm interested. I like this. Second episode, I was like, wait a minute, who is this guy?
Wait. Before we go to the second episode, let's let everybody else chime in on the first episode.
Yes.
Does anybody else want to talk about the first episode? Just we know you can't. But anybody else want to chime in?
He put it on mute too.
I gotta make sure. Again, I put out my Star Wars wish list video not so long ago, and a show like this was on that list of things that I wanted to see in regards to something not Skywalker related, something in the high. I prefer the Old Republic, go a little bit further back because a lot of
the Old Republic, right? Come on,
right? But I'll accept the High Republic. High Republic's cool, and I enjoy seeing the differences that this Jedi Order had versus the other one. Mm-hmm. And then the first episode really intrigued me with some of the acting, and like I said before, the fight choreography was on point there, and I thought the approach was pretty well done. I think there was like some bite, I guess, for lack of a better term, missing there. To like, I don't know what it's one of those things where like you eat a meal, and like if I had one more ingredient, this thing would be perfect, and I just couldn't put my taste on what that was. Yeah. And for me, a lot of that had to do with some of the tension. That or lack thereof for some of the parts. I felt like some of it was in the editing as well, where they would feel like there was, because I know in the first episode in particular, the Yorn, I believe is his name, or the dread guy, they ADR'd like one of his lines out, because I'm assuming that he said something that was potentially a spoiler for a future episode or something else. So obviously there's stuff that happened there that they like cut out. Yeah. And I think that cutting and trying to clean up to make sure that things were canonically fine going forward kind of took out some of the tension and some of the moments that were built up. But besides that, the first episode had me very, very excited for what was going to happen in the future of the series.
Same here.
Okay. I want to chime in on the first episode. I'm surprised that Kaori didn't say nothing about this, because she is the horror film connoisseur. Loves all things horror and scary. But for me, the best thing about the first episode was the twin thing. I think that was like when she found out that her sister was still alive, and they did this like really, really dark scene, and they like go into this like, it was like some it reminded me of like Freddy, like 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, and they did that twin thing, where they did that rhyme, and it was just like what did they say? You are me and I am you, or something like that. Yeah. You give me you and I give you me. Yes. Yeah, so that shit was really like creepy, and I thought it was really a good twist that they put on the series. It also reminded me of not WandaVision, but what is that? With Scarlet Witch?
The Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, the Multiverse of Madness, like when they did where Wanda was chasing after them, and it was like all that like horror stuff going on. Like I love that taste.
That was Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi, man.
Sam Raimi. That was classic Sam Raimi. Yeah.
I would assume Jesse has something to do with that, but I can't ask. So we're gonna ask him when the finale happens.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I have never watched Star Wars, never been a fan. So when you brought it up and all my list of homework you keep giving me, I was just like, sure, I'll watch The Acolyte.
Oh,
so that was
sorry. Oh yeah. That's too much. That's a lot.
Your life will forever change now.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm
you got a lot.
Learning all the Star Wars lingo and everything, but I like it. I was just like, oh, Amanda, love her. I saw Trinity. I was like, oh, I love Trinity. She died immediately. I was like,
right. It's shocking. So yeah, that was good. Okay, so since you've never done Star Wars, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's always hard to bring people in who've never done StarArs.
I just trusted you. I was like, okay, he said it was a good show, had a good plot and all that. Plus, we got to watch it with Khan, so I was just like,
one thing you could start off with, in all seriousness, because you like animation, Clone Wars. Absolutely. I'll tell you this. I love Bad Batch. Oh my gosh, I love Bad Batch.
Amazing,
man.
amazing
Let me tell you something. Bad Batch and Cretaceous Park, both of them had me like feeling anxiety. That finale of season 3, the underwater. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Was it what's the world? Calamari? No, like the underwater. Camino. Gosh,
Camino.
Yeah. Camino, like the whole Camino finale, man, that was great. So check out Clone Wars, Mealers. All right, check out Clone Wars.
Is that the cartoon or is that
the cartoon? Yeah, it's a cartoon. That'll be easier for you to watch. That'll give you.
If you watch that, you can like watch the movies at certain parts too, and then walk you through.
Yeah, the Clone Wars will help you with regards to a lot of the movies.
I can't just stay on the Acolyte and just like.
No.
Actually, I mean, you can.
You can because the Acolyte is separate, right? It's a totally separate timeline.
It's like 110 years
Star
before.
Wars, but it's not the Skywalker saga.
Oh, it's like a prequel world?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like was it 110? I know it's at least 100 years before.
Like a couple hundred years. It was
no, they said it's only like 100. It's only one. Because Yoda's still around for this. Like he's alive at this
Harry
point.
Potter, like that.
Yeah, he's alive at this point.
So before we get into episode 2, I'm confused about the horror part and why my name was brought up with the horror part, because I didn't see horror or anything. I thought the twin part was interesting and their connection was cool, but I didn't connect that with horror in any way. I didn't think it was creepy. I thought it was interesting. But that just made me not be
cool. Actually, you know what? The fact that you both had that difference of perspective is also interesting. So that's neat. Now, Episode 2 is interesting because that's where you're humanizing, the characters, right? And so that's where you're really beginning to establish the relationships and the backstory. And that's where I have some issues because, again, you're learning that May is alive. And I didn't really enjoy episode 2, but I really liked episode 3. But so I'll wait on episode 3. Go ahead and say what you want to say about episode 2, Khan.
Okay, I'm surprised you. Sure. What I liked about episode 2 was leaving me like kind of like on this weird like cliffhanger when she found out her sister was alive because she shot at her, and I was thinking to myself like, she shot
over her. No. Remember, she didn't shoot at her. She shot over her to make it look like she was trying to catch her.
I don't know what's intentional or what's not because she's looking at her. She's pointing this panic gun, and I'm like, this is somebody you grew up with. This is supposed to be somebody you thought was dead. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking this is gonna be, she about to turn the leaf. She finna go to the Sith side. She finna go get in the cars, but she point the gun at her, and she's like, May. And then she shoots the guns. I don't know if she did that to save face. I don't know if she did that because she was still harboring feelings about this. And then when I watched episode 3, which we're not going to talk about till we transition, it made sense why she did. So to me, it's like, well, maybe she did intentionally shoot at her because of what happened in their childhood. So
she shot over her. But I still think that even
she didn't make it look like she was
chasing. It was on stun. It was on stun setting. Remember, it wasn't like laser focused. It was the big round style, which is when you stun somebody. So that's the stun setting. But even then, she shot over her. She didn't shoot like to her. So I think that was to like throw the Jedi off.
I mean, but do we know if she a good shot?
Yes, he said that he said that she's good with that weapon.
Yeah.
So she is a good shot. She's
Yeah.
used it before, and he made that a point.
Yes, he
but
did.
when she's aiming it. She's not even actually aiming it at her. She's just aiming it over her direction.
She pretty much did this right
still
here.
Has it, right. And so she has it like aimed up. She's not even like aiming down at her sister, like where her sister is.
You know, maybe they were trying to go for like a Keanu Reeves Point Break moment, like a frustration. You know, like the shooting up in the sky. You know what I mean? But they should have done that. You know, instead of the or like giving some expression as opposed to her just lifting her arm and then shooting up. You know, because
I would have shot her, especially after episode 3.
I didn't enjoy episode 2 like. Oh my god, it's like my favorite episode ever. But I did like the fight, and I like that martial arts is taking center stage. So I like the fight between Sol and May.
Yeah.
And then, but Yord, I need him to go away. He's driving me insane. I need him to go somewhere else because he wasn't even supposed to be doing anything, and he's interfering. I was like, I just need you to stop. I need you to stop and go away. And
so let's point out the fact that using that yellow saber is the stun setting, right? So again, they're using that yellow saber for the stun setting. So that's another thing too.
Right? That's not like he's a good person and it's yellow or something like that. That's not.
Usually the colors usually dictate like the type of Jedi you are. I know the green is usually the more force sensitive people, like a Yoda.
Well, the green is usually for the consulars. The green is for the ambassadors. The blue is typically for the knights, guardians.
Your saber is like a rank.
Oh, like there are different roles. Yes, there are different roles.
I thought his personality, like blue is good, red is bad. This whole time,
I think initially, like George Lucas is just like good or bad.
But see, yes. So like when it comes to the Sith users, you can be like red or orange, but no, you can use different colored blades all you want.
So what is Samuel Jackson's?
Purple, because he channeled some of the dark side.
I made Windu. She said Samuel Jackson.
So the original story of that is on screen.
Bad MF on it. Absolutely.
So on screen, George Lucas initially was telling him like, "Hey, so blue's good, red is bad," and Luke, Sam's like, "I want purple because I want to be able to see myself."
He's right in the middle because he's
in the
gray Jedi. Yes,
and he had a gold lightsaber too.
Yes, which I think canonically, if you watch that, it's like there's some kind of planet because this crystal is like the crystal of a live being that from this other planet that he went to the venture to. And he got a crystal from a live being and put all that together.
His story is amazing. How he got
what crystal?
So in every saber, there's a crystal that gives it they channel energy through the crystal, and that's how the lightsaber beam is made.
So the lightsaber itself is just a giant crystal?
No.
So imagine it like
light. It's plasma that's focused through a crystal, and so you can actually like a flashlight. That's exactly right.
Literally, exactly.
Super concentrated like a flashlight. That's exactly
There's
right.
a lot of science in Star Wars. Okay.
It's pseudoscience. You're right. So for you, like I said, remember when we talked about Clone Wars? There are some pilot episodes back when they were creating Clone Wars. That's what you need to start off with. And they're awesome. They're really great little shorts that kind of showcase the power of each of the Jedi. And so just start up. They were made by Genndy Tartakovsky, like the person that did Powerpuff Girls. So they're really good to watch.
I knew when you said it, and I tried to hold it in.
So see, again, it's worth watching. So again, watch Clone Wars and watch those shorts just to start off with. Just check them out. You know, it's kind of like it's got like a Samurai Jack feel to it. You know what I mean? So it's really cool.
I love.
And then you'll get into Clone Wars, and then Clone Wars is interesting because it's great acting, but then you see like structurally it's a problem because of the whole Star Wars thing. But I want you to watch Clone Wars so you can watch Bad Batch because God, that is such a good series.
Bad Batch is really good.
Oh, I love Bad Batch. I love Bad Batch. It's so surprising how much I enjoy Bad Batch.
Is that like Star Wars abridged somewhere?
It's
Bad Batch is actually about some clones. It's about some reject clones. Like they were defective clones. That's what the Bad Batch.
You meet all those clones during the course of the show, and then it's like a spinoff of that. Essentially,
they all look alike, but they got their own personality.
Yes,
like the Minions. Okay,
literally, like the Minions.
Yeah, because they're all clones.
I'm trying.
Yes. No, this is good. Again, this is, look, there's a lot of areas of geek culture that, we don't all know. And then they can be intimidating when you start getting into it, right? Yeah. Especially when you get you know, like in any genre, you know, you've got your people who are going to try to put up barriers or like, oh, you don't know this sort of thing, you know, that and
gatekeepers. That's crazy, man.
Exactly. Can't stand gatekeepers, right? Don't do that, right? We're all nerds, like embraced, you know, like we want to share. So
wait, is Charlie a gatekeeper? Were you gonna get
Well, you're not here for that. You were here for that conversation.
You were there.
You were there for that conversation.
You were there for that conversation.
I really want to clip that. I want to clip that part too, by the way.
Oh man. But real quick for episode 2, for what I was on that. Really interesting. I think for me, the most interesting aspect of it was diving more into the hypocrisy of the Jedi Order. It's something that they speak on a lot in the prequels, but Anakin kind of shines a lot of light on. And if you watch or play any of the Star Wars Old Republic online game or the Knights of the Old Republic, it's a big factor in there as well, where they want you to be this robot that cuts all ties off to everything else. But then the thing that I enjoy the most about it is that you're seeing in this High Republic era, they pretty much like, they don't promote connections, but you see a lot of the Jedi in this era have a lot of hobbies, I guess. Whether that's like woodworking or Soul keeping around his holodisc of his old students. Like the Jedi seem to have more personality in this era.
That's true.
During the 100 years later, I don't know what happened. Well, maybe we'll find out in this series what happened for 100 years after the fact. All the Jedi, because they also get into the fact of how political it is in regards to the Jedi have to have this image of strength. Because they're essentially the American military. I think that's, at least for me, that's the imagery I got there as far as it being very similar to America and how we have military bases on every single country in the world, and we have to show our strength there. They have a designated Jedi master at every outpost and whatnot. But yeah, it's dope. Had a lot of depth, and getting more insight into the Jedi Order, and so people can kind of understand. Because for me, I love a lot of the parts of Star Wars, but for me, I love it the most because of the Sith and the Jedi and getting to see how these different orders operate and go about living their lives.
So now we're starting to get into some of my conspiracy stuff where, again, maybe we've been looking at this all wrong, right? So maybe it's true that the Jedi are the villains. Maybe the Jedi got corrupt because Yoda really is evil because he's the one unifying force for how many hundreds of years. And he's been the one that's been guiding most of the training. And so maybe, again, when you try to cut out passion, you can't deny passion, right? We are beings, we live, we exist for passion and to create. So when you try to cut that out, that's evil. So as we get into episode 3, we start realizing the Jedi are not all the good that they're supposed to be, because that was messed up what they did in episode 3. And then on top of that, Osha is now my villain. I don't like Osha anymore. I like May. I love May. I was like, you know what? I switched. I'm Team May.
Okay.
Yeah, Osha definitely came off as the villain to me because everybody in their mama literally is telling you, don't trust them new Jedis over there. You know what I'm saying?
She said for whatever reason, honestly, that was like plot armor. You know what I mean? It's like, but I don't want to do this. I want to be a Jedi. And then she's just going to do it. And then see, then that's when the thing with what they did with May. Say it again.
She's a baby.
She's not that much of a baby.
But it also shows you like how like it really was on some like how you said like the, by the way, Bob and me are veterans, you know what I mean? So that's, I know you don't really talk too much about that, you know what I mean? But that's cool.
Service.
And I do understand what you like, that intimidation, that military force. And it was like, she literally said, like, we're separate outside of like your galaxy. Like, you really don't have no jurisdiction here. There's no reason for you to even try to force
there.
That influence.
There's no reason
over
to be there.
No even reason to be here. And you're like forcing our children to come out and indoctrinate them.
Yes.
And you can see that with Soul when they finally had that conversation, and he's like, you know, like, oh, you want to come play with the other kids? And I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was creepy. It was like seriously, it was creepy. And then on top of that, and here's where I got mad because of the way that they wrote May at the very last thing that she does. And again, that's where like the editing happened and all that stuff. It's like, come on, man, this is plot armor. But as of episode 3, I'm Team May.
So this is where a lot of the plot holes for the show stood out, was in episode 3.
Yes.
So there are two different perspectives to view this show, at least especially this episode from. The episode of just watching it for what it is, as far as its own separate entity, and then there's how it works with the lore that we understand Star Wars as. First off, being the Force itself. The big thing and the main reason for the original trilogy altogether starting off with was the idea that Darth Plagueis tried to create the ultimate dark side being, and the Force was like, nah, fuck all that, we got you. And then the Force created Anakin Skywalker to level everything out. So Darth Plagueis, who is hundreds of years old and has studied the Sith arts for however long, and he was not able to create a Force-sensitive human being.
Hold on a second. I'm going to stop you right there, because your premise is faulty. Darth Plagueis successfully created his Sith clone. Anakin was just a Sith clone that got found by the Jedi. Darth Plagueis has lots of them around, but he didn't activate them. And Anakin is just hanging out on this hot planet, and then the Jedi bumped into him, and they're like, "Oh, this kid is high in midichlorians." And where's the father?
Well, because he was a creation of the Force itself.
Anakin was created by Darth Plagueis because he was a Sith clone, because Darth Plagueis was planning on using Anakin to put his consciousness in, and he just got caught by Qui-Gon Jinn, who was like so up on, like, you know, he's going to be a good Jedi, that he was blinded to the fact that this kid is a Sith. Maybe the Sith are very powerful, and the Sith get more powerful because, you know, midichlorians activate on a hot planet, kind of like the same thing that happened with Rey, right? So maybe Qui-Gon Jinn stuck his nose in somebody's business and he shouldn't have, and then he kidnapped somebody's Sith clone, and that's what happened. And that's where the whole Skywalker saga is a tragedy.
That's a lot of maybes in that, but
that's where a lot of that
peer review.
A lot of that is factually incorrect. I will say that a lot of it is. Sure. From the aspect
before you go, I just want to say I'm about to coin that phrase. Your premises is faulty. That's
because for a lot of this stuff, if you read the extended books, like I've read the
none of that counts anymore. Book. Remember, all the canon got blown up. Nope.
Well, no, this is the movie.
All the canon got blown up. The movies are the movie. The movies are the canon. So you can't.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This is a book they created this like a little bit after the prequel. It's got the Darth Plagueis and
the movies are the canon. That's what Lucas said. That's what Disney said. That's what Marvel. That's what Lucas, the Lucasfilm.
Right. Well, even him himself, he said this in regards to Plagueis was attempting to create to your point, he was trying to create a clone, and due to his tinkering with the Force created Anakin in opposition to that, to equal everything out, which is why he was chosen one.
Says who?
Yes.
Says who?
Lucas.
No. That version came from the Jedi, who put out that version because they didn't want to admit their mistake. That's propaganda, man. That's propaganda.
Even to that point too, an issue that I had with the episode in regards to the Jedi being so aggressive and wanting to recruit May and Osha was when they find a child at Anakin who has more midichlorians than Yoda. Like, Yoda is the master of the Jedi Order at that point, and this child is shown to have more potential than him. And they were like, he's tainted and weird. We're not going to train him. And it took Obi-Wan being like, my master's dying wish was for him to be trained. I will step down from my council membership and train him personally. If the entire council was like, yeah, we're not rocking with this kid because he's tainted, and he's a little bit older as well, because they don't like taking children after a certain age as well. They try to go which Soul himself talked about how he got taken when he was extremely young. They want to mold you and mold your personality.
Exactly. He was 4.
You're telling me they're going to venture way out here to this planet to get these two twins who are significantly older and very tainted in regards to like their motivations as well. I'm like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. And then especially from the way that they describe the Force, and you watch the original trilogies, Obi-Wan, Ben Kenobi says the Force is an energy field that's all around us.
Yes.
And it is through us. And then they describe it as a thread, which
that was cool.
I need to see more elaboration on that.
I loved that. That's the part that said, wait a minute, this is interesting because this is from a completely different perspective. You know what I mean? And now we're getting into something that's an exploration. I also love the subtlety. Can we talk about the subtlety of the graphics on that? That was so cool. Again, that is the mastery of Lucasfilm, right? Where they put in that stuff that's just enough that you could see it, but not too much. You know what I mean? Not too heavy-handed. That was that kind of next generation mastery of somebody who's been working on all these different series, and they're like, what can we do to be slightly
I
different?
wonder who.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
So
Jesse,
my overall
your
theory
team
for
and let them know we're giving them major props. Okay, really, like that was awesome.
Whoever that
I
is.
loved
Props to
episode 3. It was beautiful. You know,
Julian and Carlos are the VFX supervisors, and they
amazing,
They do an
absolutely
amazing
amazing.
job. It looked amazing.
Really loved the way that they did that. Absolutely, truly respected and appreciated that. So again, the thread, the fact that this is a different version of the Witches of Dathomir that we haven't seen, or we don't even know if they're Dathomir.
That's what I was trying to figure out
They're
too.
witches. Right, they're witches, and now see, but again, they weren't evil. They were not evil. Everything that we saw about them was not evil. They just wanted to be left alone to do their own thing. And now,
we know
right.
of.
But I want to go back now and read and watch Ahsoka again, and I want to go back now and watch
The Clone Wars.
Clone Wars again, right? And start looking at Dathomir again from a different perspective and see if if they're tied in. And yeah, because again, remember how I just said that everything that we've been watching has been through the filter of the Jedi are heroes. But what if in fact the Jedi are the evil force? And they have.
Did you play the Jedi Survivor games with Cal Kestis? Yeah, where they took a tour.
Yeah, I love it.
So in the game, he takes a tour of Dathomir and goes through where the witches lived, and you get to see more of their lore and their thought process, and it humanized them a little bit. They're playing around with the dark arts, but it didn't make them outright evil,
right? From
the way that they're depicted in the animated series in the Clone Wars.
And again, I haven't. So I've watched the video games. I don't have time to play video games as much anymore, and it's really, really sad. So between that and then also, again, the cool thing about the FFG games is that they've got access to the codex. So everything that they build in terms of the role-playing games is all from the canon. It's all from the lore. They have all the authentic lore. So actually through your games, you can get into a lot of the knowledge of this. So Star Wars FFG, highly recommend it. It's absolutely amazing. Amazing. Absolutely phenomenal series, role-playing game, very great balance, and it's a lot of fun. But again, that made me want to explore that lore, and then maybe, like, what if the Jedi are evil, and we're seeing this different perspective today from a different side of it. Now, having said that, Mealers, I know all this is getting lost on you. So from a gaming perspective, tell you what, from a gaming perspective, just go watch Rogue One. That's one movie. It's amazing. You love gaming. Yeah. Somebody put together a game. They put together a crew for the Dirty Dozen for Rogue One. And you don't have to know anything about Star Wars besides knowing that this is a game. And they said no Force users. It was awesome. So Rogue One, phenomenal movie. That movie made episode 4 so much better, right? I mean, you know how hard it is to completely rejuvenate a 40-year-old movie? And then when you watch this new movie and the way that it ends and goes directly into episode 4, and that also reveals the mastery of episode 4, which then, since we gave props to the visual effects people, we actually have to give props to the editor, because there's a lady who was the editor. She was the mastery behind all the Star Wars movies, and I forgot her name, but that editor, she was George Lucas's secret weapon. So they give her props all the time. She won all these Oscars and stuff like that. But watch Rogue One, because that's like episode 3.5. You can just watch that on its own. It's amazing. It's a really, really good movie.
On Rogue One.
Yes.
Okay. I can speak about that.
Yes.
The only thing I really have to say is I won't spoil it for you, but the end sequence, it's so good. The end fight sequence, the team I work for did that.
Wow.
Wait, so,
Noidum or the team you're working for now?
The team I work for now, the Action Design Incorporated did that, and a lot of inspiration for my work came from them. So
I will actually watch that scene just for motivation sometimes. Like when I'm running my games and I'm like, okay, I need a big bad and I need him to flex and really terrify people. What am I going to do? I'll watch that scene because that is so good. It is.
See if I can. So I know the choreographer behind it.
Okay.
He showed me the previs for it. I'll see if I can grab it and show you what the original vision for that scene.
I'd love that.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's way darker than what they showed.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So speaking about the visual effects,
chills again, man.
Did you have something you want to say before I say that? Talking about you, but it sounded like I cut you off. Were you about to say something?
I was just saying that I love that scene. Again, Rogue One is amazing, and again, from a D&D standpoint, every gamer will appreciate that movie because that is literally putting together a game. It's a one shot, and then the only rule is no Jedi. And then everybody comes up with their own character, and then that's what the movie is about. So you'll appreciate it, Mealers, from that standpoint.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking about the visual effects, I want to talk about Torben. Because I thought that him sitting in that meditation, like force field, whatever you want to call that, was fire. I've never seen that, and I've been watching Star Wars for a while. Again, like not all the movies, but I've seen enough to where I'm like, I've seen Yoda, I've seen Anakin, I've seen all these people. I've never seen them use the force like to that degree, where they can. He said he was sitting there for how long? Like years. 10 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. And nothing she could do literally would penetrate so much to the fact that he wasn't even bothered of her presence. Like he didn't have to move, he didn't have to try. That scene was amazing to me. It really like reminded me for people who are anime fans of like Jiren in like the Tournament of Power. Like he could just sit in that bubble and won't even be bothered by you. Like that was amazing.
I felt like that was more of like a time bubble. You know what I mean? Because again, if you're existing outside of time, people trying to bust in on that, they can't quite get to her. You know, they couldn't get to him.
Is the force? Like, the force is that powerful? They can do that?
Well, he subsisted on the force, right? He hasn't eaten or done anything in 10 years besides sit there meditatively. If you have slipped outside of the time stream, so to speak, to where 10 years is one day, right? Think about it. If 10 years is one day and you're going to meditate, first of all, why would you do that? Like, what kind of guilt are you carrying? Right. So there's that question. And then the fact that
no, go ahead.
Okay. So here's a spoiler. He drank the poison. So then you got to realize, I mean, he was seriously feeling some kind of way about that, to choose that fate. So that was really interesting. So I'm very intrigued by the way that the series is going. But like I said, episode 3 made me a fan of May and the witches. And so that's why I'm very curious about episode 4, what's going to happen coming up. But it also made me want to go back and watch Ahsoka again, and made me want to go back and watch Clone Wars as well. Oh, and then also go ahead.
Real quick, I had to look it up just to make sure I wasn't crazy. But Del Rey's team, the people that oversaw all the Star Wars book, they confirmed that all the book novelizations of the movies are canon. So just the ones that align with the films.
Wait.
So the
which
6
series?
films.
Which series? Remember,
just the main movies. So like from episode 1 all the way up to the end, any novelizations of those movies are canon because they align with the movies.
After they were made. Yeah, those were made
after they were made.
Yes. I thought you were talking about like any of the novels like in between and before.
No, not the extended universe novels. This novel I'm talking about is a novel that's like a couple months before episode 1 and showing what led up to episode 1.
And it just talks about episode 1. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But
again, I had to double check. I make sure I wasn't crazy.
That's fine because again, it was written by the Jedi. So again, you're going to get that slanted history.
This is from the perspective of Sith, though.
So you know what? Tell you what. From the Sith perspective, I told this to Mealers and Khan. You need to watch a Sith movie. So I tell you what. Watch Oz the Great and Powerful. I need you to watch Oz the Great and Powerful because that is in the Star Wars universe, and people don't realize this.
Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yes.
With that book, though, I will say. This book is showing the perspective of Plagueis and Sidious.
Okay.
So it's showing like up until Sidious killed Plagueis, like up until like it's showing everything.
Well, this other movie is going to show you how a Sith trains their apprentice, and it ain't fun and games. Oz the Great and Powerful stars what's his name? James Franco.
James Franco.
Yeah.
That takes place in Star Wars? I didn't know that too.
Yes.
I didn't know that took place.
And absolutely, it takes place in the Star Wars universe.
I did not know that.
Yes. So Rachel Weisz is a Sith Lord. And she's training her apprentice. Check it out.
That's insane. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt it like that. Continue. My bad.
He said he been having these debates for a while. He ready. He got him in the chamber for it. You say, yeah, go ahead, young man. Tell me what you know about Star Wars.
Well, no, what's funny is the fact that I kept a straight face. He's like, really? That was in the universe? Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
'Cause I never saw it. I never saw it all, so I never
You
knew.
should definitely watch Oz the Great and
Go back and watch it. So seriously, Jesse, go back and watch Oz
It's
the
really
Great and Powerful, right? With James Franco. Everybody thinks that
Yes.
it's about Oz. No, it's about how a Sith trains her apprentice and the world that she created, right? Because again, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, suffering leads to the dark side. So again, Rachel Weisz makes Mila Kunis's character afraid. She plays on her fears. She makes her angry. She plays on her jealousy. She makes her hate James Franco, and then that hate leads to suffering, right? Where because she's a simulacrum. Also, if we get a little D&D, right, where the water when she cries that burn, that melts her because she's made out of snow or ice. But remember, that's another reason why the Sith grow on hot planets, right? So again. So if you go back and watch Oz the Great and Powerful, you'll see that's a Sith movie. It totally fits in the canon and it works. There's even a Kyber crystal at the end.
Oh, we got a cue. We got a cue. All right.
Feel free to share that one, Jesse. That's a fun conspiracy, but it holds up.
100%. I am going to pitch that.
I don't watch this movie now.
Thank you, but it holds up. That's the wild part.
100% pitching that.
Yes.
Really do. It's really good.
In all seriousness, watch it this weekend, and you'll say, "Oh my God, it really does hold up. This makes sense." So yes,
that's it.
Yeah,
That's actually on my list of that challenge that I have to do because we have the DVD.
That you're never going to finish.
I thought she finished.
No, she took a beam break in between.
There are 900 DVDs in this house.
What do you have to watch? What's your
Everything.
I was challenged to watch all of the movies in my house. I video like VHS and DVD because my dad has like this extensive DVD collection, and then we also have like 5 boxes of VHS tapes, and I just got a VCR. So everybody's like, "Oh, you should watch all the movies in your house and review them." Before the year is over.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting.
I don't mathematically, does that even work? Are there enough hours in a day for you to watch all those movies and review them?
I mean, I sit at my desk and
probably like 3
work.
years. In 3 years.
900 movies. That's like at bare minimum 900 hours of a film, just like shortchanged.
Oh, at least 1,800 hours. Remember, if it's movies and it's 2 hours, right? Because again, you're going to take breaks and drinks and all that stuff. So that's 2 hours per movie. So that's at least 1,800 hours. But then if you get in the VHS as well, back in the day, we used to like record triple time on VHS. So one 2-hour tape was actually 6 hours. I have the entire Robotech saga of the 3rd season on VHS. And we had to run home and record that and pause it during commercials. And my best friend, Jason, the one that actually wrote me in the foreword of his book that he wrote, Red Hand Rising. He had the entire Robotech saga that we taped on VHS.
Yep, my dad has Robotech on DVD.
Very nice.
I have Outlaw Star, both seasons on DVD. Big O is on DVD.
Nice.
We have like the entire Naruto collection, including the movies. And they're like, "Yeah, you have to watch all of that." And I'm like, "Okay."
So, have you guys seen Delicious in Dungeon?
I've heard about it. I haven't watched it.
It's amazing.
I've heard good things.
Mealers, you got to watch this series because again, it's a gaming series. It's a gaming
No,
series.
I know, but I'm scared. I didn't want it to suck, so no one around me has watched it.
No, you watch it.
Brilliant. I love it.
Is it
Again,
easy,
every gamer needs to watch this. Now, again, the anime people are going to call it Dungeon Mashly or Dungeon something. I mean, it's not Mashal, right? It's Dungeon something or other. There's a different word, but Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix, hilarious and awesome and great. Really good story, but it's about gamers, right? Going into a dungeon. But the way that they've made it is fantastic. And so because you're a gamer, you will truly appreciate that series.
Aren't they like
ask you
eating
then.
the animals?
So they have to. So what happened is the cool thing is the first episode starts with them getting their butts kicked. They're losing to a red dragon, and the one of the wizards in the group teleports everybody else out, and she gets eaten by the dragon. So the premise is we got to get back in that dungeon, kill that dragon, and get her out of its stomach before it devours her, so we can raise dead. Right. So again, it's like the whole point is to, like, because again, it's like a gaming movie. Like, oh my God, how many days do we have to revive this person? So that's the premise. So they gotta go fast. So 2 of the original party members are like, no, we're done, we're out, peace. And so now it's just 3 of them, right? It's the brother of the mage who died, and then it's her best friend, and then it's this halfling rogue. And so they decide that they're going to go back in. They've got to go fast. So they're just going to eat what they kill. But then they meet this great dwarf who is also a chef. He's a dwarven fighter, and he's also a chef who knows how to cook, right? He's got levels in chef. And so the funny part is when they go through the dungeon, how they use all the creatures that you would encounter in a dungeon, and then you prepare them as a meal. It is a D&D meets foodies series, and it works. It is so random and completely unexpected, but it works. I highly recommend it. I loved it. As a matter of fact, I just watched the latest episode last night because they're dropping one episode a week. But and so there's 24 episodes, and it just finished the first season last night. So definitely.
I want to ask you really quickly because there's another series that you I saw you worked. I don't know to what extent you worked on it, but I know you worked on Overlord, which again you're talking about video game anime. The Overlord is probably one of my favorites that I've watched recently. I've got into a real big isekai phase as of last year.
So remember when we talk about we have failed over and over and over again, and that leads to success. So Overlord is one of those failures that I had as the neighborhood studio. In all seriousness, I'm going to tell you this because again, this is I am much less than perfect, right? I'm a flawed. So in all seriousness, I told you when I opened up the neighborhood studio, my goal was to be Funimation East, right? I know there are a bunch of creative, brilliant, talented people that are out here. They work on The Walking Dead, they work on movies, they're doing all this stuff, but there was no anime over here, right? So I had opportunities to try to bring in some of the Atlanta talent and East Coast talent. I have people all the way up to New York that don't do anime but they, we've watched anime for years, but they've never done it. So I had been lobbying and talking to the guys to be one of their cast off studios, right? So what happens is with Funimation, it's a production, right? With most studios, you've got, like 8 rooms, and each room is working on 2 different productions, right? You're working on 2 anime series. So there's a day series and an evening series. Okay. And so I was just going to try to give me a 1 season, 24 episode story arc. That's like the more obscure stuff. Let me just deal with the cast offs, right? Let me just deal with the light work. Let me get the scraps. You know what I mean? Let me just be on the B team. I just want to be on the bench for one of those production studios. But the way that the production cycle is so tight and so flawless, right? You got to have it turnkey. I mean, Funimation has it down. This is why anime is usually very geocentric, okay? Because they need access to their main actors all the time. Now, COVID changed that, thankfully, and I'm able to work a lot more with Bang Zoom Studios out of LA and a lot of other studios now all over the world because I work remotely, right? But again, you have technical glitches. It just happens. I had a technical glitch today that caused my blood pressure to spike at like 176 over 116. I'll tell you about that here in a second. Yeah, that happened today. I had a bump today. But in this case with Overlord, that hurts my heart because I was all excited about this. I got that was the same time I recorded Fairy Tale Dragon Cry, right? So that was a success, sort of. And then Overlord was the series where I was going to audition for it. And then I was trying to, I was going to direct out of Atlanta, and this is going to be my big directorial debut of anime, and Funimation. And I don't know of many other, directors of color for anime, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a big deal. And I even got an instructor. He teaches Pro Tools. This guy knows Pro Tools, right? The session crashed. And the way that Funimation has to be turnkey, you can't have a session crash. You can't do that, right? There's no room for mess ups. There's no room for mistakes. It's got to go, because when you're doing simuldubs, it's got to go every 2 weeks. Okay, no other series besides live sports releases like that. Okay, so the fact that you've got to go from my recorded voice through sound mixing, through editing, through music and everything else, and then get distributed the following Friday is amazing. But with my session crashing, they wouldn't give me any other series, and that hurt my heart. It punched me in the gut. I got denied. And then I said, okay, you know what? We don't get, Every wall is an opportunity, right? You got to go around it, over it, through it, under it. What are we going to do? I was like, all right, they're not going to give me a session. I'm going to go get something myself. So then my buddy and I, my production director, who is absolutely amazing, Garrett, he's Neighborhood Colorado now. So we reached out directly to China to do some donghua, to Korea to try to do some Korean anime, to Japan. So we got in touch with Kadokawa Animation. So we've got this great project where we, at my own dollar, agreed to produce the first 5 episodes of this really cool series. And I mean, I probably shouldn't talk about it now, but the deal is dead, unfortunately. So apparently the CEO and some members of the board got arrested for bribery or something like that, and the deal died. I had managed to negotiate not only the production of this series, which while we were recording, they renewed it for a second season. It was insanely popular in Japan. It was a really cute series about animals that build a college to go to the moon, right? So Space Academy Nanchara, that's what we were going to call it. Phenomenal series. It's edutainment. It's educational for young kids. It's very hilarious, very well written, cute animals. So the marketing would have been amazing. I negotiated the streaming and merchandise rights. So it was going to be 50-50. I mean, I was like pumped, right? Western territories, North America, England, and Australia. I was like, this is it. This is my Dragon Ball. This is going to be huge. That deal died. However, because it got blocked. However, because of the effort that we put into that, because of the work that we did on that, we knew that we could produce anime now. We knew that we could make our own stuff. So now I've got Boundless that we're working on. So you guys can check out Boundless manga. And then I've got some other series as well that I'm not under NDA. So that's good. I can talk about Boundless and promote it. So we did the sound for it. And right now we're actively looking for the animation for it. And that's another great series that holds its own. And then that's what led to directing Saga of Sins and Arcadegeddon. And what else? I did a bunch of video games post this. So remember, your setbacks and your failures and your mistakes will lead to other opportunities. And so that happened. And even today, I had a technical glitch. I was having a session with something that simuldubs that's supposed to release next Friday. And my session was messed up, right? My audio driver messed up and I didn't know what was going on. So I had to get in touch with Source Connect. Source Connect is this program that we have to use all the time for clean recording, right? Clean sound. And my audio driver was messed up and it kept skipping and things like that. And it caused me to have to mess up that session. So we've rescheduled for Monday afternoon. Now I'm recording Monday afternoon. The final mix is Tuesday. It goes on like you will watch it next Friday evening. That's how fast Turnkey is, right? Nobody else does that. That is, dude, that's flexing. Like that is some anime flexing, right? And again, that's insane. So again, when it comes to anime, first of all, anime voice actors, we have to get it right like this. It's a very tight hour, a very tight 2 hours. You get maybe one shot where you see it in the script and then you've got to record it and then you record a safety and then you're moving on, right? So again, it's fast, but you've got to showcase that range. That is not for beginners. That's for the pros. But that turnkey part is where you've got to know your stuff. You got to have that technical expertise, right? You got to be able to see the visions and be able to work around things because you're going to have these technical glitches all the time and you got to breathe. Got to breathe. And thankfully I had my emotional support animal in here, my studio dog, that I could just like pet him. So I wasn't crying, at least not on camera. I cried after it was done, but not on camera.
How would Shao Khan cry if you could do it in that voice? What would that even sound like?
He doesn't.
No. In all seriousness, after I had kids, that's when I started crying.
I've heard that a lot from men. They get hella emotional after that.
I used to say there are only 3 times a man could cry, right? Like if you get tear gassed, when you watch those videos when soldiers come home from the war and like they see their kids and their pets, and then at a funeral, right? And you get that lone tear. But that's not the case. You can cry. It is okay to cry. There have been lots of times where it's been very frustrating. In all seriousness, with my kids, because you need the world to be better, especially when you have daughters. You need the world to be a better place, and you need people to be kind when you have kids, because you want your kids to grow up in a world that's going to be better and more supportive. And so when I tap into that, I can cry. And that's also more of a, I mean, again, it's more in that tremulous voice, right? It's in the softening of the voice, even like in the croaking, that sort of thing. And so again, you could cry where you'd have one tear or a couple of tears. Now, there are times when I do have like, there is actually a song, my wife teases me about it, but she's had to stop teasing me because like this is weird. You know, you have those Pavlovian reflexes, and like there are certain people that I'm not going to talk about this. Bruno Mars. So when my daughter was born, actually, I've got a song like that for each of my kids. So with my firstborn, Bruno Mars, there's a song when it plays, I can't listen to it because it'll make me bawl. I mean, like it's embarrassing because it will like totally make me cry, like gushing, sob, and snot and all that stuff. And I have to like leave the room because it messes me up. Right. So a song from Bruno Mars that does that. And then with Patience, my second child, believe it or not, there was this song at the Georgia Aquarium that would do that. And then with my son, Jack, it's John Lennon, Beautiful Boy. So again, it's like there are certain songs that are just so like heart wrenching that, like I just, it hits, you know what I mean? So I can never hear like the one song from Bruno, even thinking about it right now, it's like it messes me up. So, and my wife, she would play it a couple of times until she realizes that's not something, it's traumatic, it's like, when you find out you're having a child and like your world is going to change, your life is going to change forever. And everything that you do has to change to help your kids. Right. So that's what's tied up psychologically and biologically whenever I hear that song. It's classical conditioning. And so there are certain songs like that. So, but that just happens. That's life. You know what I mean? It's like, there are certain songs or certain smells that'll remind you of, your grandparents' funeral or your parents' funeral. You know what I mean? So, it's not something you think about. Anyway.
No, I respect it.
That's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is Boundless, right?
Yes. Thank you very much for showing that. Okay, so there are some amazing young stars, some up and coming stars. There's a young lady by the name of Lindsay Renee who has got a phenomenal voice. She actually she lived in Japan for 5 years. She's incredibly animated, brilliant performer, actor. She is the lead in that one, and she was also in the series that we did. And again, I said Garrett Kiesel, but then also we've got some other people that are in that as well that are phenomenal. So I'm very excited about that. And then, let's see, can I talk about some of the other stuff? Not yet. But again, from the neighborhood, we've had people who've been booked for Smite, and that cast nationally and internationally. We've had people. Thank you.
That's
yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, if you know Smite, not everybody knows Smite, but for those who do, So I'm very proud to be Odin and Olorun and Atlas, 3 of the most powerful characters of each pantheon. And so that's cool. And then what else? You guys know. Wait a minute. So 2 things. Number 1, the fact that you watched my indie movie, my indie live action premiere. Thank you very much for that, for taking that time to actually watch that. So what did you think? Be honest, right? Be honest. Were you bored? Because again, like, look, I'm sure like your parents would relate to it, right? So like when my partner wrote that, she wrote that, and it's a chick flick comedy, but it's got guy humor in it, but it's definitely for the older generation. So it's about 3 lifelong best friends who use their hula hoop skills to win a talent competition in 1978. I mean, that's ordinarily I would not have expected that I would watch that, but it was an opportunity for me to direct, and not just anime, not just a commercial, not just animation, but live action. So to be an independent filmmaker and producer and to be able to make a movie, that was my shot. If you get a shot, you shoot it, right? So that was my shot, and I'm excited about it. So actually I'm working on the director's cut and cleaning up the sound, cleaning up the music, but it's still a funny movie. It's not your typical drugs, thugs, gangster movie.
I appreciate
it. What is it called, and where can we watch that? Is a question.
The Rings That Bind Us, and it's on Prime Video. Support indie filmmaking. It's only like $5 now. So it's
yes.
So were you the director and the DP?
No, I'm not the DP. So we had 2 different people. It was filmed in Dallas and it was filmed in Atlanta. Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia. And it was filmed. Actually, we're a month away from the anniversary of it. In the hottest part of the year. Man, that was someday there's going to be a making of the movie about the movie. It was like my own personal Tropic Thunder. That was intense. But we filmed an entire feature-length film, 97-minute movie in 8 days total. And we had a staff of 5 in Texas and 4 in Atlanta. And I mean, we were doing the jobs of, easily 16, 20 people. And I mean, the attention to detail in terms of the props was strong. The locations were hilarious. The costume design is immaculate. The decor, the set design is incredible. And then on top of that, the comedy. By the way, I hope you guys liked Butterfly. I wrote that. Those lyrics are me.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Exactly.
I did like the music. I did.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is the movie, by the way. So if y'all want to watch it, this is the movie. The personalities are eccentric. The parents were hilarious.
Yes. So the parents, that's actually Yarborough and Peoples. That's like, Don't Stop the Music, the 80s R&B. Okay. So they wrote that. That's their song. And, like in the movie, when you see Marcia responds like that, it's pretty funny. And then we also had Shucky Ducky, the comedian, in it. So it's a very funny urban comedy. So I loved it. Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, I liked it. It is just, it kind of just
expecting.
It wasn't what I was expecting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So there's another movie that she wrote.
I also want to say though, the choreography was dope. That's one thing I wanted to say. Like,
yes and no.
You don't think so? The dancing with the hula hoop and all that.
Yeah, no. Again, Tammy did an amazing job. She choreographed it, but to her credit, Lucretia Johnson, Phyllis, she came into that production 3 days before we started filming. And now what's funny is she was like, we made a hula hoop movie and she can't hula hoop. And that's what's so funny. It kills me. Oh, she did it. But her acting skills and the fact that she came in, did some heavy lifting. Cause I mean, her performance is amazing, right? Like the scene at the family, like at the dinner table, right? When she talks about being like a family, that's the stuff that people need to hear, right? That's the kind of thing that has replayability about it. And so that's why I'm like, I got to clean up the sound. And we were going through the licensing aspect. Okay, so there's 4 parts when it comes to making a movie: pre-production, production, post-production, and distribution. Okay, every one of these major areas, a movie or a creative project can fall apart. We made it through pre-production. 3 days before production, 3 days before we start, one of the actors is like, I've got some notes and I don't want to do what I said I was going to do before. And we're like, bye, peace, right? Also, a week and a half before production, this is like kind of like during COVID, the director got sick. I was only supposed to have that one cameo, which I don't even talk about, by the way, right? So I didn't even say anything about that. But the director got sick, so I ended up stepping up and directing that movie. Okay, that was a week and a half before we started filming. And then when we were filming, I was on the air. I was literally on the air every morning because I couldn't get that week off. So I was up at 2:30 in the morning, get to location. I was on the air, recording on the air from generally like 4 till 8 Central Time, and then would finish that and then direct and perform and produce all day, and then would record in the afternoons in between shots, and then would continue filming through about 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock that night, get back to the hotel, crash for 4 hours, wake up and do it again. Like I said, it was insane. That was my own personal hero's journey. But you get through that production, and then you've got to get through the editing, and you got to get through the sound design, the cleanup, and then you got to get through the licensing for music, right? So we were going through this process, and then there's this clash between the distribution agent and my partner, and it didn't work out well. And so then we're like, well, we just need to make our money back, so let's just get it out there. And so then we went through Film Hub, and we should have taken our time and finished up. So again, what you're seeing is the rough draft. And so we needed to make our money back. Again, this is real talk, right? So again, this is the real talk of the industry and the creatives. So we needed to make our money back. And so that's why we put it out on Film Hub, and now it's on Prime and Tubi. but I'm working on the cleanup for it and on the music rights, because I had this vision where every person has their theme music, right? So like Philip and Michael have Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye, and Marcia had like the Jackson 5, and Honey had oh my god, why am I going blank? Oh my gosh, why am I going blank? And then why am I going blank on everybody? You know, because it's late. Like I just hit that wall. Donna Summer, you know, so like you know, it's supposed to picture like all the 70s style actors or singers and have that vibe for it. But it's still, I mean, the music is still great, right? I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed that music.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it's a mostly family-friendly movie, And then, you know, there's some fun, interesting parts. And then, hopefully you enjoyed that great rant at the end that I wrote. Yeah. So it was pretty good.
Let's watch it. I want to hear what they say.
Say that again.
Oh, sorry. I said I'm gonna have my parents watch because
please do. Yeah.
You know, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Please do. Please have it's supposed to be for that parental generation. So definitely
I'm gonna try to make them buy it to support.
Thank you very much.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
I'll definitely watch it for sure.
Yeah, and so now what's interesting, and so now here's where I have learned, and this is also important for creatives. So again, you remember how Jesse was saying, just make stuff. So I learned from the gaming community, right? The Georgia game developers. Oh my God. Joe Casaval said the best thing I've ever heard. He said, I've made a lot more money from bad code than I have from perfect code. Get it out.
Yes.
And so same concept applies, right? Even though I'm being a perfectionist about this movie, getting it out, I now have this intellectual property that we now have this intellectual property that we can then turn into a video game, right? So like I'm working on a Dance Revolution style video game, like the 70s, and the cool music for it. And then I'm like, we've got this sequel. Awesome. Thank you. Whoa. Uh-oh. Something tells me I'm being too loud. I'm getting the call. Yeah.
I thought that was a support animal.
I think so. Yeah. I don't even know where my phone is. Well, never mind. I'll just bury it. But anyway. So, you know what? Thank you very much, Christopher Washington. I appreciate this. Yeah. So again, it is the trials and tribulations of a working creative, right? It's all about protecting your psyche and maintaining that mental health, not in a negative, destructive way, right? Because again, we can all do that, but try to be constructive and creative and proactive, right? And that's why it's so important to have a group with you, a support group. And that's where game therapy comes in. So that's why I game a lot. But in this case, having that IP, right? So from creating something, now you can, and this is where remakes come out, right? People reboot their stuff all the time. They make it again and again and again, bigger and better. And so because we have made this movie, and actually Tammy's made some other movies that are hilarious. There's one called Paradise House on Amazon. Watch that one. It's kind of like Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, but it's in between. Like, it's not about that. You would think it's like, oh my gosh, but it's not about that at all. And it's hilarious. The sound is terrible in that, but there's a monologue in that movie that rivals Christmas Vacation. You know, like Chevy Chase, you know, like Christmas Vacation.
The rant about the
Yes. There is a monologue that my partner Tammy wrote in that movie that is as good as that. It is shocking. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm going to do some stuff with this. We were going to partner up. We're going to do some stuff. So we did this sci-fi thriller called Forever Gardens about a group of immortals who basically feed on rude hospital staff that abuse the elderly. Because, yes. Thank you. So yeah, that's called Forever Gardens. That won some awards. And it was in that I was like, all right, what else you got? And that's when I discovered this crazy Xanadu meets car wash meets grown-ups meets, hula hoops, So it was crazy. So anyway.
Okay. I appreciate that. I know it's getting late. I know it's already late on your side. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I think everybody wants to start wrapping it up. If not, am I getting that, or Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here. It's 133. Let's start.
Yes.
At least where we are, it's 133.
Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna ask these last two questions, and then we'll just move on. I had a lot of slides for Star Wars. We didn't really get to talk about all the different characters. That's fine. We're doing a part 2 anyways. Maybe we'll do it earlier in the day where everybody got a little bit more, you feel me, and people are up. So, hold on, we got another one. Bob, you said you game a lot. Are you going to play the new Dragon Ball?
That's a good question.
You got to whack it with Bojack.
Where's that water? Where is that water? That is some. Yeah, that is. I need some water. Ooh. Oh my goodness! You know what? And then I got this helmet. That's good too. And then oh my goodness! And then what's going on this weekend and stuff? You know, there's certain things we don't talk about, right, Jesse?
100%.
Exactly. So yeah.
Just to piggyback on your
NDAs, my boy Chris. But yeah. So look, this question that we created from Tapping No Capping. I want to know from your perspective in this lineup, if they were all wrestlers, who would be your favorite wrestler?
Go ahead, Jesse.
Can you show me the photo again? I didn't take a look at all.
I'll go with Wolverine.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, this is hard.
They're all in the same, you feel me, camp of wrestlers.
So, you know my bad, Jesse. I didn't mean to interrupt you, right?
Say it again.
No, I thought I cut Jesse off. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I'm still. This is hard.
For me, it's an easy choice.
You go first.
I've talked about it before on Kaori's platforms as well as other platforms when it comes to wrestling. Rey Mysterio is my favorite wrestler of all time. So and the luchador style is the style I love to see the most. The high pace, the high flying action. And I look at Wolverine, the guy in the mask, the guy that's the high flyer, short, stock. He's gonna do all the crazy flips. That's my go-to.
Fastball special. Absolutely.
Fastball special.
And he's completely fearless. Absolutely.
Taking all the bumps.
Definitely. Sorry, guys, I'm looking for my...
Do you honestly feel though, even though he would be your favorite, do you think he could win against these other people if he was in that?
What was the question?
Yes.
That was
Look, that man is a fascist, but you can break his legs.
Exactly.
Joker is psycho, but again, you could break his legs.
Logan has like internal bronze knuckles, so like any kind of elbows, any kind of move is like
adamantium. And then on top of that, he is strong, but more importantly, he will outlast all of them. And we all know that when it comes to combat, cardio,
endurance.
So, yes.
I mean, we've seen Wolverine lose in fair fights. You know what I'm saying?
The wrestling, not in wrestling.
Not in wrestling. No, not in wrestling. That's all. Yeah, that is a whole different. That's a different.
Honestly, who did he lose to? I mean, like maybe Captain America, but I mean, you know, who else?
His son. That's about it. I can think of.
Did he really? You don't lose to your son. Yeah, that's fine.
In the worst way. Send him to hell. Actually.
I respect it. Kaori, did you want to choose? I think Jesse's still thinking.
I think I got it. I got
Jesse.
It. All right, so my favorite wrestler is Orange Cassidy, even though he's AEW. If we're talking WWE, Randy Orton. I've always wanted an RKO from Randy Orton, and but that's why. So Orange Cassidy's very meta, so that's why I want to choose Mr. Satan. I think you know he would win only because someone else would do the fighting for him.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I can see that. And then his
promos would be amazing.
Jump on top.
Yes.
Yeah, champion.
Whatever, man. I can't.
I'm the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, as Galby, and the fact that I lost to Mr. Satan is really frustrating because I mean I love Chris, but I could take it.
See the Dragon Ball Bridge thing where they're like, "Hail Satan! Hail Satan!"
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Anybody else had a pick?
I picked the pink guy from One Piece, but I keep calling him Doflamingo because I don't watch. So I don't know. But
Wait, you don't watch One Piece? What about the live action? Did you watch the live action?
I watched the first episode because I was like, haha, it's not the ugly art style anymore. I have a chance. And I was like, I can't.
It's really good.
I think his name is An-Chan, I'm pretty sure.
How come I can't call him the flamingo guy? He's pink.
He does wear it in the
Yeah.
I respect it. He does wear a costume where I think he does actually have a flamingo on him. So like, it would make sense.
Maybe. But I'm just like, it said pick your favorite, not who was gonna last in cardio and combat. Favorite, and I'm like, oh, he's got dramatic flair. That's what wrestling's all about to me.
That's true.
So entertain me, and I think he would do it the best.
Yeah,
I respect, and I do feel like he would be the most. I think between him, like Joker being the heel, and Bond being like the most entertaining, like I see those two being the most entertaining for sure.
I feel like Wolverine as an entertainer, breaking legs, that's pretty fast. I paid for a whole show, sir. Maybe lost a few rounds, so I wouldn't pick him ever, you guys.
Okay, I respect that. Dr. K? Pause for a little hot second.
I thought he was really sitting in his like disappointment.
Yeah, hopefully he comes back.
Mine is Joker.
I'm gonna let it sit. You said yours is Joker?
Yes.
You think he would have his face paint on and all that, or like a mask?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You definitely have the face
Did I
paint.
crash or did you guys crash?
It was you.
It was you.
Apparently, it was It's my macho man. It couldn't handle the power. Oh yeah,
the powder just
you
kept
can
you
do anything.
I do.
It's Spider-Man.
That's not fair.
Bonesaw's ready.
Bonesaw.
My pick will be between the Scotsman and Pickle from Baki. Scotsman, because I feel like nobody is gonna get on the mic and talk shit like the Scotsman. I don't think nobody can talk shit like Scotsman. So that would be really fun to see that banter with whoever is on this lineup. Pickle, because the opposite, not because he's good at talking, but more so of that animalistic persona that everybody has a gimmick in wrestling. You know what I mean? He'll be like the Undertaker, where he's quiet but vicious, pops up out of nowhere, because that's what Pickle does. Everybody's doing their own thing. Pickle just pops up out of nowhere and causes chaos. So I think seeing Pickle in a wrestling event will be probably the biggest threat, like on some what was the Great Khali, like the Great Khali type of thing. You know what I mean? So
chill out.
Reminds me of Kane a lot, is what I was gonna say. The bust down, the quietness, the ferocity. Yeah.
Last question of the night, and this is tapping no capping. You know what I mean? So we usually ask a tap or tap question. I'm not sure who is all a Kendrick or Drake fan, but I pulled this from the comics, and I just want to know: would you say this is a depiction of what happened with the rap beef between Drake and Kendrick? You know what I mean? Tap or cap? Tap, you agree. Cap, you disagree. Is everybody pause?
No, we're just thinking about it now. Look, you put up Darth Vader versus what?
This whole beefy
Bruce Wayne?
I know.
No.
I was trying to figure out what I was even looking at.
Yeah, I was trying to see it.
Darth Vader is Kendrick and Drake as Silo, whoever Silo is.
Yes, thank you. So his name is Silo. He cloned himself, and basically Darth Vader is telling him the best thing about him is that he can kill him over and over and over. So
I'm gonna go with Darth Vader.
So
Kendrick as Darth Vader.
Jesse?
Yeah.
I'm gonna swipe left. I'm gonna tap that.
You tapping? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. We all know Captain Diesel probably is gonna cap that. So that's
why? I don't have a.
You think it's a tap? Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't have a stroke. I'm a J. Cole fan. I don't have any dog in this fight.
Okay, all right. Respect. Okay, well, it sounds like that's a tap, so we're gonna go ahead and go with that.
Tap in.
And we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're tapping no capping, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and just give a shout out to people in the comments. Thank you for DC, Marvel, and everything else comics for tuning in. That's a Facebook group, has like 240,000 members in it. So thank you so much for tuning in. That was one of the admins. Wow. Thank you for everybody on the panel being here. Thank you for my boy Christopher. Everybody, Cyrus was just Battle Junkie, who's going to be and some content that we're doing later on in November. But shout out to this is Dr. Kaori's, you know what I'm saying, platform. So definitely tune into, you know, the doctor's office. She also does Nerd on the Street podcast. This is Mike and Basic. We got questions. He's also going to be in our content in November, so look out for him. My boy Captain Diesel's Dojo, you know what I'm saying, real fire, you know what I'm saying, art that we got going on right there. Also with the Thin and Now podcast, which is my personal favorite. You know, that's how I started off getting into this, you know, podcasting thing. Even though my boy couldn't make it, you know, shout out to the One Piece Alliance, my boy Jew Heffy, you know what I mean, Strawhead Jew. He also was doing the Situation of Deliberations podcast, so we're waiting for that to come out. He has content coming on your way. Tell it like it is. Thank you guys for coming on for the platform. You guys are doing great work. California YouTube, they're doing really good. And back to this, man. It's tapping, no capping. You know what I mean? Where if you're nerdy, you see in the West Show opinion. So, you know, like, follow, subscribe. We will get y'all with a part 2. Bob, thank you for, you know, showing up and staying late, even though it's a crazy time. Your time, you just got back from being in Cali. Now you all the way back out there in Atlanta. So thank you so much for giving us your time. Jesse, thank you for showing up, even though your, you know, agents gave you, you know what I mean, gave you some pushback. You know what I mean? So I really do appreciate that. I really hope we do that episode part 2. We can really talk. And Mealers, I was gonna go. I was gonna do it.
No. Put up Shao Khan.
Shao Khan, hello.
Shao Khan.
Yeah.
Plugging.
Well,
I'm just plugging.
I can't do it. I can't do it because he told me to take it down because it's the wrong date. So you know.
No. This is a good date. No, this is a good date. I got mine on. This is the right date.
Okay.
No, not that.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
so look, it's the weekend after that. It's the 24th through the 27th. Yeah, look, hit those QR codes and you'll still go. It's Halloween weekend. It's after
Halloween
you get back
weekend,
from your cruise, so you can make it.
Gotcha.
There's some better. There you go. All right.
All right.
I will be there.
We'll see
I'm
y'all
excited.
next time, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good night.